Those who survive know the one more time. fix finding bliss when you feel the heartbeat inside. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Me too, I'm just like you, and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, selling sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk, and I'm getting high. Do you believe in magic? Me too, I'm just like you, and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, selling sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
It used to be luck. You used to be funny. We used to have time. Time without money. We used to feel bad. We used to look sad. We used to have luck. And time without money. 'cause you called last night. I'm not that girl. I don't wanna dress up for you and be a toy. I'm not that girl. No, I'm not that girl. You got me just as long as I'm bored. Put your feelings aside, give that wild shot a try. Let's ride. No one does it better. Put your feelings aside, throw yourself out in the night. Let's ride. Let's ride. Break out of your shell, meet me halfway. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. Make a mess, be a man. If it's hard, pretend. I'm not that girl. No, I'm not that girl. You should know I don't give in till I'm floored. Put your feelings aside, give that wild shot a try. Let's ride. No one does it better. Put your feelings aside, throw yourself out in the night. Let's ride. Let's ride. I don't wanna be like you. I don't wanna do the things you do. Come this way and ride with me. Ride with me. Ride with me. Put your feelings aside, give that wild shot a try. Let's ride. No one does it better. Put your feelings aside, throw yourself out in the night. Let's ride. Let's ride. No, I'm not that girl. No one does it better. No, I'm not that girl. No one does it better. No, I'm not that girl.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How are we out there tonight? It has been a heck of a week. We're going to relax. No jacket, no tie. My collar is a little messed up, though. We got to fix that. There we go. That's better. How is everyone out in the chat? Let's see. It's a slow night tonight. It looks like something's going on out there in the world. Let us see who is here. We've got K2 Keep on Trucking was in first, which is legit. That's legit. And then we had 13. Shadow Buddha is in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, you saw many. Oh, Spoking Spaceman's out there with the ghetto raid from Crystal Strange. Thank you, Crystal Strange. Appreciate that. And you saw a 73 right-hand drive Austin Mini. That's cool. I used to have a Bug Eye Sprite, which is, not too dissimilar. And I actually, when I was at the museum, we had the Twinny, which is the twin mini, whatever. That's the got an engine. The Mini, it's got an engine in the front and engine in the back. I like that car a lot. And I have a couple of Mini Coopers. Yeah, not old ones, new ones. K2, it's snowing. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that for you, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's cool. Well, it has been a hell of a week, guys. We're going to chill out tonight. We're going to have a good time. Hopefully we have some guests drop by. I've sent out some links. We'll see if anybody wants to come by and shoot the shit for a while. If not, hey, man, No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. Maybe I'll let's see. And but if they do. And if they do, that's totally cool too. Yeah, it's good times. Good times. So it has been a long week. I've debated, I think, every day this week, somewhere, somehow. No days off. Normally, I take a couple of days off from streaming. This week, I really only, I believe, took off Sunday, and I think maybe I might have streamed Sunday. We'll see. But it's been great. It's really actually been great. The at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool out there. All the debates that are happening, all of the people getting together and talking about this stuff. It's freaking awesome, dude. It's really great. I've been, even when I don't like what they're saying, which is pretty rare because I really don't. Generically, I don't care, right? Like I just, it's fine if somebody, it's fine if somebody, kind of wants to lie to themselves and, um, they're off in left field and they want to believe all of the rhetoric and there's nothing else. You muted it. Oh, I'm sorry that you did that. Anson Knowles, you were on mute. Who's lying themselves? Most leftists, I think, are. I think they kind of have to be to have the takes that they have. Like it's pretty, it's pretty tough, man. It's pretty tough to be that messed up. You want to argue with Scott Moore? Okay, he'll be around. What's up, Ghost 1978? Anson Knowles is up in the house tonight. That's cool. Anson, you want to come up and chat? You haven't been up all week. I know you want to. Calvin Collage, I guess. Do you need a link, Anson? I drop you a link, bro. Give me a sec. Calvin, I think you kind of have to lie to yourself on the left because you kind of have to hate the idea of progress to be on the left. Am I wrong about that? Do you have a position on that you'd like to share? Why can't I find Anson? Do I not have Anson Knowles on? Huh. Why do I not have Anson Knowles on? I know I had Anson Knowles on here. Why do I not have Anson Knowles on here? Stand by. Let me look at this. As an independent, you see lying on both sides? Sure. Yeah. I didn't say the right didn't lie. I said the left kind of has to believe the lies that they tell themselves. There's Anson. I got him there, I guess. Oh, I got you. That's why I couldn't find you. Got it. Got you, bro. You're locked in. Uh, as an independent, yeah, okay. Um, in my opinion, why do I think people don't debate against Eastern religions in this space? Is it lack of knowledge? It seems like Christian versus Islam, atheists, and other Christians. I'm not really sure what Eastern religion you're talking. Can you elaborate on that? I will. We'll talk about that. Okay. All right. That's cool. What lie is the left telling? I mean, there's a lot of them, but um, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Look, Stephen, I get it. His name's Buddha's in his name, but I mean, there's Taoist. There's like three different kinds of Buddhist, I believe. There are various. Um, what I don't know, remember what the Tibetan thing is, but the Dalai Lama, that's Buddhism too. I think I forget. I like Shadow Buddha. What's up, John Mosman? How are you, sir? I don't think I think because the Eastern religions don't bother to debate Christian religion because they don't care. I mean, I think that's the nicest way I could say it. It's the nicest way. That's the only way I can put it. They don't care, and therefore it doesn't matter. There's nothing in their opinion to debate. There's nothing to talk about. You know. Good to see you, John Mosman. We might kind of get a discussion panel going on tonight. It is a look, guys. Normally, I know Friday night we kind of go. And we usually have like actual subject matter on Friday nights, but not tonight. Tonight I'm just kind of it's gonna be chill. We'll banter, um, that kind of thing. But I've literally debated every day, and um, this is yeah. Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism. Yeah. There's a lot of religions. Yeah, I mean, it's like the question could be asked: why do Hindu and Sikh, why do they not debate Christians or Muslims? Well, the Sikh hate Muslims, and uh, the rest don't care. I don't think that they care to debate. They just don't care. What do you think, Anson?
Um, I think that it's kind of irrelevant to talk about those kind of issues because they're, how do I put it, like deeply personal, cultural.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of people are what they are because of the culture that they were raised in, unless there was, some sort of drastic, purposeful change or incidental change in the culture. Like, you can't really talk someone out of their faith. That's not how that works, and they're just basically trying to one up each other to prove that the other one's wrong instead of listen and come to understanding. Because when you have a dogmatic perspective, like a faith, like I can't talk you out of being Christian, Grid. You know,
Yeah,
it's it.
I mean, we could debate we could debate the veracity, right, of the truth, and we could do all of these other kind of we could have those conversations. But it is interesting that uh, the Eastern religions or philosophies or however you want to look at it, they don't get into that. They don't care. It's not part of their culture to even um, do to even have. I don't think it would occur to them to have a debate on whether Buddhism is better than Christianity. Like it just wouldn't be something they would talk about.
Yeah, and and the reason for that is cultural, also, right? That they have norms and traditions, and they are just what they are, and it's based on
Yeah.
where you're from and how you're raised, and your family. Your family plays a larger role in that culture than it does in this culture. Our culture used to be more similar to that, where the Christian faith was a lot stronger and it played a more central role in the government system and
Yeah.
all of that. And
Yeah, you're right.
so our system is not what Christianity is supposed to be. And this is from someone who's not, like, I don't consider myself Christian. So I was raised in it, and I know what it's like. I'm speaking at it from the perspective of someone who doesn't believe in God, who understands how he stopped believing in God, right?
Right.
And it was the culture that I was raised in had changed because of the purposeful activities done by the government and other forces trying to basically reduce competition with the government, right? It's like any tin pot dictator, like the North Korea guy. He wants people worshiping him. Our
Mhm.
central government wants people worshiping the government also. It's just that there's not one single figurehead, right? That's what secular
Mhm.
materialism
Mhm.
is just the worship of people's knowledge of what's best for people instead of seeking to something higher than yourself. It's disgusting.
That's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid answer. Um, and Mosman's actually really right about this. And when I was in college, like decades ago, uh, I actually minored in philosophy with the emphasis on Oriental thought, which we could call it that at that time. Can't call it Oriental thought anymore because I can't say Oriental anymore. I've said it 4 times. I'm going to be blacklisted soon. But to them it's more mystical and just as or central as part of who they are. It's just their lifestyle, it's everything they do, which is what you were just talking about with Christianity, right? It used to be part of everything that you did, just your daily routine kind of revolved around it, right?
Yeah.
And um and now it's not, now for whatever reason we've gone from a holistic religious, mystic, if you want, view of Christianity to as John says, scholastic, um, uh, uh, not distill, academic version of this of religion, rather than just the faith and everything. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's
it's the
it's
logical
really.
conclusion of enlightenment. The Enlightenment
Mm,
period, the thoughts related to I think, therefore I am, and
mm,
the Kantian dialectic.
mhm.
The way that our culture exists today is because we separated from the older traditions, and a lot of the other, like the Islam didn't have a reformation. They didn't go through the process of self reflection and say, well, how about we just upend all of our traditions? Protestantism in and of itself is basically the cause of atheism, from my
Flow State, you
perspective.
want to come up? Flow State, you are welcome to come up on the show tonight. You're welcome to. We're chilling. What's up, Caucasian Sasquatch? How the hell are you? I got to play a clip for you, Anson. So I think you might have seen this. If you haven't seen this, we'll play it a couple of times tonight because it's gold. So this is this. I'm going to set the stage. So this Marxist young lady who may actually be in the audience and not saying anything. I sent her the link so she could come up. This Marxist young lady has this theory that is fascinating, and it kind of boils down to. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna play it. I'm gonna let you guys listen to this. Judge it for yourself. Don't judge me. Well, you can judge me because I do comment. But Anson, I can't wait to get your on-air reaction to this. So just give me 1 second. I get this set up. It's freaking awesome. It is. I promise. And you guys know that I'm not normally a clips guy, so you should all be impressed.
Would be the one let go. because we did not have the resources necessary to hire
Wait, is
more
this like
medical
a? Are you?
professionals.
Wait, just to ask, like, because now I'm curious. Like, are you saying this is like actually like a predominant like culture issue, like, or is it because of like resources?
Well, what I'm saying is that when something like the VA is extremely underfunded and you need to keep your claws in specific people so that veterans can get the care that they need.
I have the volume all the way up. I don't know why it's
because I knew that that person that they could not fucking replace him, but they could replace me. So I think you're going to get weird sex crazy things happening because you're putting people in positions of power that they could abuse. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely absurd. What?
Oh, yeah, Admiral, please explain that to the rest of us. Translate.
Yeah, how does that make sense, brother? Make it make sense.
So
So like, I guess,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
try to translate for like conservative counterparts.
And there's just reverb.
Say you're like,
I don't know why there's reverb now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's still a reverb. I don't know if it's the being the media panel. But the point I'm making is that this chick thinks that when you have power, you will abuse it in self-gratifying ways because that's her worldview. She's projecting her worldview on
It's
other
even
people.
worse than that, man. She literally says that you if you reduce the funding for the VA, then it will create a situation where there will be orgies at the VA.
Yeah, so that's a power vacuum, right? So when you're removing government employees and
All right, here we go. This will be better. This should be better. Let me.
Would be the one let go because we did not have the resources necessary to hire
wait, is
more
this like
medical
are you-
professionals.
Wait, just to ask, like, because now I'm curious. Like, are you saying this is like actually like a predominant like culture issue, like, or is it because of like resources?
Well, what I'm saying is that when something like the VA is extremely underfunded and you need to keep your claws in specific people so that veterans can get the care that they need, like I left because I knew that that person that they could not fucking replace him, but they could replace me. So I think you're going to get weird sex crazy things happening because you're putting people in positions of power that they could abuse. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely absurd. What?
Admiral, yeah, Admiral, please explain that to the rest of us. Translate.
Yeah, how did that make sense, brother? Make it make sense.
Okay, so like, all right, I guess I'll maybe try to translate to like conservative counterparts. The argument would be, say you're like, say I owned a restaurant and I had employees that they were shitty, but I was in a small area with not very many people I could hire, so I would have to retain shitty employees. And if someone complained, they'd be the one let go because I can't afford to lose the other ones because I don't have the funding or the resources to get the replacements. Is that a fair paraphrasing, Charlie? Or
thank you. Yes, that's correct.
analogy?
If you further underfund it, you're going to get even more fucking weird orgies or weirder things happening because you are putting people in positions where they are like fucking invaluable, dude.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, Charlie.
That's illegal,
right? But it's a weird argument to make.
Sure,
like,
but legal
if
things
we
happen all
take
the time.
away
Well,
money
you just
from the
posted a
Veterans
sex crazy
Association,
orgy
they're gonna have
bullshit.
orgies
I'm
there.
sorry, I just thought that
And,
was funny as fuck.
I'm gonna tell you that if that happened, all the vets I know would vote for
So
that
the
shit.
audience understands. Yeah, someone else posted a link in our group chat talking about a sex created orgy thing.
I also posted the shared chat.
Yeah, my apologies. My apologies.
yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That makes sense to you?
Yeah, if you look at it from the perspective of a degenerate on the left, someone.
Okay, all right. So that's my problem is I'm not a degenerate.
Yeah. So if you were a person who had power and you didn't have your Christian morals and you thought your power could be used to service you in some way of pleasure, if there was a situation where people were being fired from their jobs and made vulnerable and exposed because of these mass firings, you could use your leverage if you had control over that to organize things like orgies. And that's the only way that makes sense to me is if you're thinking of it from the perspective of someone like her who is obviously a leftist and thinks about power in a way to use other people as a means to an end.
But how does defunding, so the criticism is that by defunding the VA, this is what's going to end up happening is there's going to be these wild sex orgies at the VA.
Yeah, and she was talking about the employees, right? And she
Yeah.
was specifically referencing the hierarchy within the VA, which is a large bureaucratic structure with people on the top who have power and control over the people underneath them. And if there are mass layoffs, then you have to comply with what the people at the top with the power are saying, which is these mass orgies, or you're going to get fired. That's her. That is her framework. That's what makes sense to her, because she views. No, I'm serious.
No, I know that you're serious. That's the problem. Is I know that you're serious. It's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No,
I told you needed to be up here, Flow State.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So grid. It's not funny.
I mean, it is to me.
Yeah, but that's because it's ridiculous, right? You're laughing at them because they're absurd. But you remember, 30 years ago when you first started hearing the Transformers being normalized?
Yeah.
And now it's normal?
No, it's not normal.
Well, it's more normal than it should be, right? And even longer than that. You can remember.
I can go along with more normal than it should be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can remember when other degenerate behavior that's in the Skittles community was less normal, and it's normal. They're very normal now. The people like her are what the standard leftist thinks, right? So when they get more power, there's going to be these massive orgies everywhere. It's going to be like Caligula.
Caligula, damn son.
Yeah,
it's straight to the top.
Yeah, well, he's the perfect example of someone that represents her worldview.
Oh man, I needed that laugh too. That was great. That was fucking great. Big Take Ranch is right. VA orgies might be an effective way to fight depression. Go service a soldier, ladies. Go service a soldier. Do your duty. Do your duty. Give up that booty. You can clip that because that's the only time you're ever going to get it. Anyway, all right, Hanson. That was great, man. I really appreciate that. You cracked an exhaust manifold in the cold recently. Okay, I got you. That sucks, man. I just can't get over it. But I mean, there was one of many absurd things. Now, she's a Marxist.
Yeah, that makes sense because she thinks that people are not people; they're factors of production.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't view people as having individual dignity and value.
Well, we tried to dig down on that. But yeah, so she's Marxist. The debate was really hilarious. It wasn't even a debate. It was her. She would give these rambling, nonsensical things. I've got to let me find it here. I had it up and then I closed it. Let me find this. And so it was pretty funny, honestly. And basically what was going on was so Gibbs, the guy who's running the panel, he's trying to grow his especially the Twitch side of his audience, but also YouTube and everywhere else. And this girl is part of the Cute something or the other group on Twitch. They get a lot of followers, everything. So, hey, what's up, BOD696? Good to see you, buddy. So with he brought her on with and he specifically stocked the panel with people that he felt like would not just straight up attack her, right? And had some form of decorum and restraint. And you heard him just simp like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. And then I was like, wait, what? I'm
She wasn't
No,
nearly
it doesn't make
attractive.
sense.
She
It doesn't
wasn't
make
nearly attractive enough to deserve that level of simping for a comment
I
like that.
agree.
Which, like, there's only a few people that I've seen like that Eternal chick. You know, she's that hot, but that chick isn't anything. So,
Yeah.
you know,
So
she's got to be like a 10
yeah.
because
Okay.
that was dumb.
But give me another. I got one more for you. Let me find this. There it is. So in my closing, it was great. The closing was really good. Gotta find it. Here it is. Let me see if I can find it really quick. But my closing was really good because I literally asked her. Well, actually, I'm not going to say it. I'm not. I won't play it. So during the closing, I'm like, and I didn't understand any of your rambling nonsense, but I appreciate you showing up. Blah blah blah. And the and so I don't know. It was funny. It was funny to me, and she actually took it personally and was like, "Was I hard to understand?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you really were." It was like you just rambled over and over again, and of course, all the Sims were like, "As soon as you got your note, as soon as you got your paper and pen, you were way more organized. You were on top of it." And I'm like, "No, that's not what happened." But anyway, it was great. It was a good time. You missed out, Anson. You did. Next time, I'll have to see if I can get you an invite. Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be doing my own channel too from now on, so I'll be able to do panels and stuff and promote a channel.
Literally just messaged me.
I like Admiral Gibbs though.
No Admiral Gibbs. He's streaming somewhere or something. I don't know. So anyway, all right. We'll see if she has the link. All she has to do is click it and pop right on. So anyway, how the hell have you been, Anson? You've been everywhere this week. I've seen you all over the place.
Yeah, I've been working on setting up a channel. I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start streaming. Well, you know, I've been following you for almost a year now, and I had a YouTube channel almost 10 years ago when I had a live radio show. It accompanied it.
You used to do radio? That makes sense.
I was political talk radio.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so I'm going to start a channel up with Eternal.
Oh, you should totally do that.
I am. I've got it set up already. I'm going to start doing some live streams tomorrow.
You and Wally. He gets her on Wednesday, Thursdays. You get her on Monday, Fridays.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be that clean cut, but yeah. But so Grid, just think about it though. The difference between us, like I'm like super intellectual and kind of a nerd about stuff, and she's more of like got a totally different culture than I do. It'll be a really good back and forth to bring issues up.
I think it's gonna be really frustrating for you, but hey, brother, if you like that specific type of headache, you do you.
It's not going to be a headache, man.
Oh, we'll see. But speaking of you being super intellectual, how is it that you're able to have a how is it that you're not able to have a conversation with a Furby? I used to remember that you and the Furby used to get along, and you took the Furby side even a little bit when I would be like, "That's the worst debater I've ever seen in my life." You're like, "No." And then last night, the Furby said like one word, and you were like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
So what happened here, Anson? Who hurt you, bro? Who hurt you?
Well, nobody hurt me. I've gotten tired of people on panels who basically talk consistently and say absolutely nothing of value. And Furby basically just gets up there and
Spurgs.
No, it's worse than that. So there was a good conversation going on when the Furby got up there, and then immediately the Furby started talking about that conversation and then segued it into something about it. about him.
Every single time.
Yes, because he's a narcissist. Well, from my perspective, I'm not a psychologist or whatever, but if the conversation is not centered on a topic that he wants it to be on, or if it's not something he agrees with, he basically just pouts like a little
Yeah.
girl, and I and if he was a good faith debater and he disagreed with me, I wouldn't be treating him that way. But he got on there and called all conservative people ignorant, and a whole bunch of stuff that was really just like I like he's not debating. He's just basically getting up there and pouting, and I didn't want to deal with it. So yeah, I had fun with him.
Well, so you saw that last night. I was trying to be very nice ish. And I honestly thought that we could have an actual debate, right? The Furby cannot debate at all. Like, it can spurg, but cannot debate. The Furby literally would ask for the Furby would literally ask for proof for everything, every claim. When asked for proof, for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, when asked for proof, the Furby would literally, I kid you not, what's this, Anson?
That's my channel.
Oh,
just so you can see it.
Yeah, I got you. You're debating really? I thought you were tired of banging your head against the wall.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I saw that on Tomato. Yeah.
Would not accept any of the things that I provided, even though there was from National Institute of Health, like actual information. No, that's not real. No, that's not real. You don't understand the science. I know the science. No, you do not. You don't know science. You're an idiot. You don't know. I mean, literally, it's just.
Well, he was making the point that because viruses transmit between species, that obviously that's the reason why that specific unpleasant.
Even though that's literally been disproven like 5 times.
Well, no. The fact. So he was doing this. He was conflating the scientific fact that viruses do spread from one species to another. That is a scientific fact.
Yeah.
He was saying y'all don't know the science because y'all are denying that happened. Talking about the fact that actually does happen instead of the fact.
No, but nobody was. That was the thing, is nobody was denying. Oh yeah, no, everyone literally said, yeah, Mel, that does happen, but it has been proven multiple times that that's not what happened.
Yeah, well, he can't argue unless it's against a straw man, because when it's not a straw man, his argument falls apart. That's why he goes on these long rambling rants to avoid the actual content of what he's being asked. And Cheriak tried to pin him down and make him answer questions, and he threw a fit about it. So he's basically like a child, and he needs to be treated like one when he's on a panel. When a child's misbehaving and saying stupid stuff, you tell him to shut up and sit down.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I did. Oh, you did? That was hilarious. Arthur Dyer was even getting in on it last night, and it was funny. It was just funny. Unfortunately, I had to leave. I had to go to bed. That's okay. But that's just one of many examples this week that I've had of left. The interesting thing is leftists all have a very similar tactic. I think they use the same playbook. So earlier this week, I was having a debate, and it was most of the debates lately have been about Ukraine and Russia and whether we should be on, whose side we should be on, whatever. And I made the statement that somebody had made the mistake of bringing up the 1994 treaty between the U.S., which wasn't really a treaty. It's an accord. It's an agreement, but it's not a treaty. That between the U.S. and Ukraine and Russia, and I think there's another country involved. Budapest, maybe. No, it was signed in Budapest. I forget what the other. It doesn't matter. And basically, the argument is that you will get if they remember it and they want to bring it up and they're stupid and don't realize that they're going to get in trouble doing it. The argument that you'll get is the U.S. promised that if Ukraine sent all of their nukes back to Russia and disarmed, nuclear disarmament, then the U.S. would provide security. That's actually not what it says. It says that we would. It actually says we'll provide support, not security. And there's a couple of other very vague lines in that agreement. The problem with the agreement is that agreement was predicated on all of those weapons being returned to and nuclear material being returned to Russia. The ink wasn't even dry on this paper before they caught Russians trying to sell a nuclear submarine full of nukes, trying to smuggle warheads across borders into Iran, Iraq. Just basically, literally all of the 80s movies, but for real, right? And it and that's why nobody in the press brings it up anymore. That's why the government doesn't talk about it, is because it was violated before it even before the ink was even dry, and which is generically it's not a big deal, right?
Well, there was also in that agreement a understanding that NATO wouldn't spread closer to Russia and go farther east, and NATO did. NATO did do that, and NATO violated that agreement. And repeatedly, Russia told them to stop going eastward toward them, and NATO continually did things like leave the door open for Ukraine to join NATO, which is intolerable. That would be like China having a military alliance with Mexico. Like, we wouldn't tolerate that.
Right.
Like, it is totally unreasonable for the European foreign policy and the American foreign policy to support NATO acting like that. It's aggressive. That's why I call the war in Ukraine the war of NATO aggression. That's exactly what I call it, because it was caused by NATO and their desire to have hegemony in areas that they don't have any business being in, because it's Russia's business what happens on their border. You know, if Russia and China and North Korea decided to start start disrupting the elections in Mexico to elect a puppet that's going to sign a treaty with them to join their military alliance, do you think the U.S. would just sit there? I mean, that's basically what we did. There's absolutely no excuse for our behavior in Ukraine. I'm not going to get into that other one that's going on.
I mean, I'm sorry. What do you mean? Which part of our behavior again?
All of it. Like, this is a war caused by our aggression. Like,
by U.S. aggression or by European aggression?
Okay, so European aggression is Europe's a frail old man that is only protected by our military, right? So sure. if it's European aggression, that's our aggression, right? By proxy.
Well, and that's the reason why we need to leave NATO. That's the justification for all of that.
Yeah. That's why we're not supposed to be in entangling alliances, because you can't control what the other parties do in the alliance.
Yeah. Yeah. I missed out on something here. What's going on? But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. There was a CIS agreement. Trump is treating Ukraine kind of grimy at the moment. Freeze on military aid and halt on intel sharing. I mean, that's kind of ruthless. Yeah, it is ruthless. It's absolutely ruthless. I don't know that I particularly blame him for it. Sorry, somebody's sending me something. I'm trying to understand what it is. The Ukraine thing, though, man, I don't know. I do. Look, I will agree with you. I'll agree with you on 2 points. I will agree with you that the U.S. breaks treaties constantly as well, right? Whenever we think we can get away with it, hell with it. We're gonna go. We're gonna go for it, right? I'll agree 100%. Agree with it. Agree with you. And then we'll demand that other people follow the treaties, right? Don't sell weapons to these guys. Next thing you know, the CIA is selling weapons to those guys, right? Don't go, don't do things in Mexico. We got plenty of people down in Mexico. And in fact, don't, sorry, I'm trying to, okay. I haven't seen this clip. Somebody sent this to me. Let me see if I can get this on here and have sound and everything. All right, cool. Let me know if we get feedback again. I don't know why I would be getting feedback, but
it was looping through the mics.
It shouldn't loop through my mic because I don't have the speakers set up.
I'll mute mine.
Okay. Oh yeah, I always forget that it could be yours as well. All right, so let me get this set up.
You're not supposed to have dead air on radio.
I'm not on the radio, but you're right. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Self? How the hell did all this start? And I was pleasantly surprised. So, history time. And I'm using pleasantly pretty loosely. Quick bit of backstory. The Soviet Union fell back in 1991, after which the CIS was formed. This is the Commonwealth of Independent States. You see, as the Soviet Union degraded, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus signed the Belovezh Accords. Essentially, it was taking and dividing up the Soviet Union into independent countries, one of them being Ukraine. Now, part of these accords was that should any one of these countries default, and by default I mean the inability to act as a sovereign nation, lose leadership, financial problems, whatever it may be, that country would then default back to being part of Russia. Listen, I'm not saying any of this is right, I'm just saying it happened. So how does this fit into everything that's going on? Well, we've all heard about Crimea. Crimea is a small peninsula to the south of Ukraine that borders Russia and the Black Sea. It was annexed by Russia in 2014. Now that's where this kind of all started. So it's generally believed that Crimea is part of Ukraine, so therefore Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's how this all started, right? I mean, that's it. Big bad Russia invaded Ukraine, right? That should be cut and dry, right? No, that's not how it works. You see, at the time, Crimea was actually an independent country. It was known as the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. It was kind of like an administrative state of Ukraine. However, it's its own independent country, which falls under the CIS, which means should the country default, it goes back to Russia, which is exactly what happened. One day, all of the government, politicians, leaders just up and fucking left. Stood up one day and is like, peace, bitches, I'm out. Which technically made the country default because it can no longer protect its sovereignty. Therefore, because it's an independent country and it can no longer protect its sovereignty, according to Belovezh Accords, it goes back to Russia. Which is what happened. Except Ukraine didn't want to give it up. They said technically it's part of Ukraine. Which is true. But it was an independent country that fucking defaulted. Them's the rules. So how does that lead to the current war? See, during this time on the down low, Zelensky opened up negotiations with NATO. Started texting them like a side piece there, you know? Hey, baby, I want to be part of NATO. Well, that's okay. We'd love to have you. I mean, some bullshit is what it is. So this goes on for a little bit, and all of a sudden, Putin catches wind of this. He's sitting there like, this is not how this works. We had an agreement, a treaty. Now, I can't find any record of it, but I would imagine that Putin reached out to Zelensky and said something along the lines of, so this is not how the CIS works. This is how the CIS works. Fucking stop now. But Zelensky kept having meetings with NATO. So Putin created his own meeting with NATO. Walked in there and said, look, this is not how the CAS works. We have our own independent treaty. Stop. To which NATO responded, okay, no, and you can't make us. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but I can imagine Russia said something like, fucking bet. You see, I will turn that country into beaded glass before I ever give it to you. And it was at this point NATO should have been like, well, that's inconvenient, so, well, on to plan B here. But they didn't. They doubled down and continued talking with Zelensky. This is why Zelensky says he'll step down if they join NATO, because then NATO would defend them against Russia. Which is why nobody sent troops over there, because that's a huge treaty violation. So as expected, Russia said stop doing this, and Ukraine said we're not going to stop doing this, and so Putin said fine, have it your way. You fucked around, now it's time to find out. And here we are. See, here's the problem though. Back in the 90s, we told Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapons and we'll protect them. Which makes this a huge gray area. Because technically speaking, Russia never invaded Ukraine. It followed the CIS and the Belovezh Accords and took back a defaulted, independent, autonomous state that couldn't protect their sovereignty. Ukraine didn't see it that way. Now here's the Jesus rollerblading Christ of all of this. Technically, by backing Ukraine during all of this, we've committed an act of war against Russia. We should have never been backing them to begin with, because Ukraine didn't have the ability to defend against Russia until they got our weaponry and money. Then the playing field was level. I mean, looking at it this way, Russia is ignoring and sweeping the fact that Biden actually made a declaration of war, which again, can't be done by a president, can only be done by Congress. So Biden unilaterally created an act of war against Russia by backing Ukraine without the approval of Congress. This is one of those things I really wished I wouldn't have looked into, because
What do you got, Anson?
Well, I mean, he didn't get all the facts right, and he exaggerated some things, like the war powers. That's been ignored for a really long time. I mean,
Sure.
presidents do all kinds of stupid stuff, and we haven't really declared war since World War II. So
yep, that's true.
Yeah, we're ignoring the Constitution all over the place because it's of no consequence. It's irrelevant. So yeah, I mean, that's just the way that the government works now. It's a bureaucratic fascism. But the other points, I mean, I agreed with a lot of those. It goes back farther than what he was talking about, though. It goes back to the secession of Ukraine from the Soviet Union and the agreements that were made at that point in time. I mean, this isn't new, and Russia has been very clear over several decades. Hey, don't do this. Don't do this. Please stop doing this. And we have consistently ignored them.
Yeah. So that's an excellent point. That's one of the reasons why I didn't think that we should have been in such a big hurry to back Ukraine, because to be honest with you, it really looked like Zelensky was the one, kind of being the dick, being the aggressor, even though he was the one who got invaded, which, is Wick's favorite point to make is, well, Russia, who got invaded? Well, if somebody tells you, Anson, don't come into my yard. If you come into my yard, I'm going to come into yours twice as hard. Or worse, if they say, if you share a driveway, right? And they say, don't put a gate at the end of the driveway because we both have to use it and I don't want to have to get out of my car to open the gate, blah, 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 whatever. And you put up a gate. And they tear it down. And you put it back up. And they say, look, if you put that gate back up there, we're coming over and kicking your ass.
Now, there's also it's a little more complicated. I'm being way too charitable to Russia, because they're not innocent.
I think you're being way too charitable to everybody.
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's none of our damn business. That's my opinion. It's none of our
Hey,
damn.
thank you, Kissy Cat. Kissy Cat donated gifted 5 memberships. Awesome. That is awesome. Hey, the tomato is here. Tomato, you can come up if you want. Did I not send you a link? I'll send her a link right now.
Oh, look at that. Mr. Boulay sent you $10.
Sweet. Yeah, look, and I don't really want to make this a I don't want it to be that way, but is the TTS not working?
I heard a little something, but I don't know if it was the TTS.
Oh, you know what? It's got to wait till all those all of the chats finish. I'll re-trigger it if it doesn't come up. Yeah, so Anson, I didn't really want to get into the whole, the matter. It's just the debating of it has been something that is really interesting, and the liberal version of what's going on is crazy. Like, it's just nuts, and it's literally, to me, it's that the leftists want the war to continue. They want the meat grinder. They want more people to die live on TV so that they can squeeze more money out of people. And we actually made that point the other night in a debate, and they didn't have a good comeback for it. So
yeah, so I used to be a Democrat back in like 2000.
You told me that. I still don't believe you, but you've told me that 3 times now, and I still don't.
And I was that way because I was so adamantly opposed to the misadventure that George W. Bush did in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, and so I thought, because I had been programmed from a young age, that the Democrat Party was the anti-war party, but that's something that is in the far distant past that doesn't exist anymore. And what we have now, what you're talking about, the crazy or in your debate, the positions held by your opponents related to this was probably more along the line of top level, scratching the surface only talking points that they had heard in the media outlets that they only listen to because they can't receive opinions from other sources. Right? There was no depth to it. Right? And so what it is that they're the subject of propaganda. And I feel sorry for them because they don't have the ability to critically think.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to really think about it because you're really going to be hard pressed as a liberal. It's very hard. It's hard for me to see how you can say, on the one hand, it's all Russia's fault, and yet when I told them, the other night about how, so this was great. And again, this is just the half truths. They don't care about the facts. They only care about the feelings. So when we let me re-trigger this. When I told them, I was like, "Hey, that the reason that," and they're like, "Well, Russia invaded. They put tanks on the border. What would you do if they put tanks on the border?" I'm like, "Well, if I were president, we wouldn't have gotten that far because I would not have." I wouldn't have pushed Putin. Putin's a lot of things, and one of them is he's a dude that literally, if he says, "I'm going to kick your ass if you do X," he's going to kick your ass. Right? Like he's not playing. He's not like he's not like a bunch of other world leaders. So
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something controversial about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Putin's a moderate.
I can't disagree with that. He's a nationalist. He's a nationalist, which kind of makes him by default a moderate.
Yeah, he had. So in Russia, if you mess up too bad, then you're going to be marched out of your office without your head.
Yeah.
Right. And
not
and
Mark.
so
But yeah.
he is in a dangerous juggling act of trying to satisfy people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has more than himself to answer to. Um, let me re-trigger this for Mr. Boulay. He deserves this. So let's it still didn't. That's broken again. I'll read it. $10 comes in from Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics. Being a dick, something Grid is a subject matter expert on. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. Thank you, Mr. Boulay. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. So back to this deal. I agree. I think Putin's a nationalist, and I think that Zelensky was installed by the Obama administration specifically to push Putin to the brink of war. I think this has been a long time in coming. It took longer, I think, than they thought it would or should, and it became it's they're just so disingenuous, right? Like they conveniently forget that, yeah, sure, Russia parked tanks along their border. They have every right to do that. The problem is that the Ukraine, the whole reason that they went after Crimea the way they did was because of the deep water port. Now, what city is that? You'll know, Anson. I always want to say Sevastopol, but it's not. What's the Four Season deep water port? That
I don't know the name of. I'm gonna pull up a map of Crimea.
Yeah, and
because I've spent a lot of time staring at Sevastopol.
It is Sevastopol. All right, well, cool.
Yeah.
My memory was working. All right, so the Sevastopol. So
that's
part of the reason for going after Crimea was when it became unstable. That's Russia's only all-season deep water port where they can put warships in. They can put their freighters in and all of that sort of thing. And so one of the reasons why I felt it was the right thing to do, Putin went after that because it was important for them to be able to have that deep water port. So then Ukraine, a year or two later, says, wait a minute, whoa, wait a minute. That's our port. That's historically ours. That was Ukrainian before it was Crimean. It's ours. That's our port. And everybody conveniently forgets that that's what happened, right? Well, Putin said, no, it's ours. And if you try to stop us from using it, we will go to war. Because this is very important to the Russian people. It's a matter of national security, national economy. It's very important to the Russian people to have access to that port. And
well, that narrative.
But what did Zelensky do?
Well, no, that narrative is wrong also, because it doesn't go back far enough, right? So you're saying yeah. So it's not necessarily wrong.
The last 10 minutes of the movie, you want to start at the beginning.
Well, I'm not going to do what Putin did and go back to Catherine the Great and talk about her conquering.
I appreciate that. I mean,
I could do that if you want to go back there. Putin did it.
No, I do not.
He was impressive. He was like an encyclopedia. But Khrushchev gave Ukraine the parts of Ukraine that Russia is taking back as a gift to Ukraine for troubles that they had because of stuff for political reasons. So that was what in the 1950s, late 1940s, so
sure.
it was given to them, and then it was when the Soviet bloc nations, when all those satellites started crumbling apart, Russia decided to give that section to them with these agreements that we're bickering over now. And so it's sort of a much longer issue, and the reason why the reason why we're talking about it is because we made it our business, not because it is our business, right? Like, why would any of these issues between nations that are neighboring on the other side of the world have anything to do with us? I still don't understand
I
that.
agree with you. And I'm actually going to be debating isolationism versus interventionalism in the next couple of weeks with Tyler and what is his full thing?
So reframe it.
Average debate enjoyer.
Yeah. So you reframe it, Grid. You said isolationism. You're not an isolationist. You're a non-interventionist. They're aggressors, right? So you're not an aggressor. You're not someone going around trying to force your will on other people. You're a non-interventionist.
I'm an isolationist politically and militaristically, not trade or nor look. And I frame it in this light, right? Like, I don't care if we want to buy and sell goods across our border. I don't care if for tourism, if people want to come here and see the Grand Canyon, great, fine, fuck it, whatever. The only thing that I really kind of care about is, well, there are several things, but they're all kind of the same thing. We don't need to be the world police, period. The idea that we must protect the shipping lanes for every other country on the planet is ridiculous, and I reject the premise that it is somehow America's responsibility to do so. We protect our ships, they protect their ships. The world is a better place. And if they can't protect their ships, then sorry, your life sucks. Wear a helmet. And I believe that there's no you cannot give me a good reason why we send and I forget the exact numbers, so nobody try and shove correct numbers down my throat. This is just I'm just rounding the numbers out. Well, I think we sent $300 million to the UK in the form of grants and aid packages. We sent almost $1 billion to Germany for the same thing: grants, aid, and loans that they're not going to pay back, that were literally forgiven the moment they were written. And we send money to France, we send money to Spain, we send money to Italy, we send money to every damn country in Europe. So the question is, why? The question in my mind is always, why is it that the American taxpayer is the entire world's wallet? Why are we paying for the peace and in our own country where we have all of these people are constantly worried about all these problems, and we've been offshoring manufacturing jobs, we've been offshoring tech jobs, we've been offshoring all this stuff. Why are we doing that? And why are we doing that? So the thing is, we're so Christian, we give everybody alms. That's right. Yeah, alms for money for everyone.
So I like to say these numbers because it adds context, because people don't know it.
Yeah.
We have over 700 military bases across the world in 80 different countries.
Yeah.
And that is unsustainable. Yeah, it's unsustainable.
It's insane. It's insane.
And it's because we're an empire.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Akari we don't need bases on foreign soil to be a superpower.
I would argue that our superpower status is threatened by wasting so much money on non-productive activities that could be much more well utilized in the private sector with capitalists. If we didn't take that money from the private sector and put it into the wasteful government sector and spend it in other countries' economies, because that's what we're doing. We're going over there, putting soldiers over there, and we're also putting it into things that aren't really adding value to our economy. Mm-hmm. Like when we spend money on the military-industrial complex, that creates things that go and get destroyed, not things that go and build up our infrastructure, build up our competitiveness. And so we're weakening our industrial base by doing this.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is that we will develop a process here in the United States, right? Like I want to give you a story, because I know the guy who did operations for Apple. The first few generations of the iPhone, he was the guy who worked with all the engineers and all the technicians and all the manufacturing people to be able to produce an iPhone in numbers, right? He did that. That was his job. He's operations guy. Then they wanted to move it to China. And they couldn't do it because their failure rate was so low. And they were like, well, we're going to have to give up. We're going to have to bring it back to the US. And finally, they figured out that part of they had to like dial in some things and make some special tools. And then it started working. But all of those processes were developed here. American workers could have done that job here. iPhones could have been made here just as cheaply as they're made in China.
Yeah, well,
now I say just as cheaply. The manufacturing cost cheap. The amount of taxes the government rapes the Apple or any other country for, or any other company for in this country, drives people offshore. And the reason they have to do that is to pay for our massive military might that is ridiculous. And we I got to read this super chat. Stand by. $5 comes in from Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics. He cannot be the only one grifting tonight, guys. We need more grift. We can't. Mr. Boulay has strong shoulders, but he should not carry this burden alone. Anson Knowles speaks the truth. Grow the influence of the American military-industrial complex one memo at a time. It's true, and it's an interesting dynamic, right? We tax people so much that companies so much they have to offshore production to get around the taxation, so they can actually make a profit here in the U.S. And then the money that is taxed, that is received, goes back offshore to protect other countries. Why are we protecting South Korea? Right? Now, the argument is, well, North Korea could conquer South Korea. Well, not right now, they couldn't. They haven't been able to for the past 20 years. They don't have the technology. They don't have the numbers. South Korea would kick North Korea's ass if they had been their own defense this whole time. But instead, they rely on Americans. So they don't have the defense forces that they should have. Now, I will say that Korea's done better the last few years, and are getting to the point where I think even Korea, South Korea does not want the U.S. bases in Korea anymore. There's been a lot of talk about moving those out, and I support that. Why do we need to be there?
Well, the people on the ground there don't want us there. Also, my brother was stationed there.
Oh, really?
When he was there, it was about 20 years ago, and he did not like his experience there because the people hated the Americans being there. And it makes sense. Would you want a foreign nation's military to have a base and a massive military presence?
Well, there's like 12 bases, right? How many bases are in Korea? I think there's 12. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense, right? You don't want a foreign nation's military on your soil.
Yeah, absolutely. $5 comes in from K2 Keep on Trucking. If you're going to Canada over the Ambassador Bridge, good luck. It's a parking lot. Pardon me. Didn't know what to say, but I just want to be part of the grift. Salute to you, sir. Thank you very much for enjoying the grift. Enjoy the grift cycle.
So, depending on your definition of military base, we have 80 in South Korea.
80?
Yep.
That's nuts. That's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's insane. So look, listen to this, Anson. If I were going to run for president next year, in 4 years, this would be my platform. We're going to bring all the troops home from everywhere. All of the bases that we've built will be sold to the countries in which they are in, not to private citizens, but to the countries at a reasonable cost per square foot, just like any other business dealing. We will take all of our technology with us. We'll bring it all home, and we'll just let those guys. They need to, and if they want to turn those military bases into parks, so be it. If they want to train their own troops, and we don't have to subsidize their security anymore, more power to them. All the troops come home. No wars. I don't need a treaty to not fight a war with Afghanistan. So we're just done. We're just leaving. We're gone. No more. No more wars. Unless it's literally something that involves the United States. No wars. The CIA, NSA, DIA, and all the other alphabet soup gone.
So
we'll take the best and brightest. We'll create a new national security agency, just one. We don't need 10, just one. And that agency will be in charge of protecting United States borders from interior threats and exterior threats. But no more toppling governments. No more installing politicians. No more manipulating the world court. None of that. We're isolationists. We don't want. If Syria wants to go to war with Lebanon, have at it. You guys, you do you, boo-boo. Go ahead. Knock out, drag out. Basically, the way we're like the bouncer at the bar that's getting in the middle of a fight with brothers, right? And it never ends well for the bouncer. Right? Hell with that. No more foreign aid from the government. Period. Zero. Private institutions, fine. You can spend whatever. Anson Knowles, if you and a million of your friends all put $1 in a pot and send that $1 million to Russia, that's awesome, brother. But don't ask the taxpayers to do it. Don't ask the taxpayers of this country to subsidize every other country on the planet to our detriment. I would run on a platform not of peace versus war, but I don't care about the wars. This is my house. That's their house. They can do whatever. They can burn their house to the ground, and I don't care. Matter of fact, I hope they do. I can buy it cheap. But no more. We literally can't keep spending and spending and spending. We can't send $1 billion a year, Anson, to Germany. Do you understand? We owned Germany at one point in time. Well, half of it. We split it. But we owned it. It was ours, and we gave it back because we're nice people. Now look, we're paying rent. We're not even paying rent. We're just giving them money. We actually do pay rent though. Ramstein Air Base in Germany. That's a German facility that we pay money to them to station our planes there.
It's also an awesome band.
It is.
So let me tell you about that real quick, since you mentioned that, because I saw a very interesting map recently.
One second. $5 from Ghost 1978. Does Anson buy all the razors in the store so women can't? That's that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That is so good. All right. I'm sorry. I interrupted there. Anson, go right ahead.
Yeah. So I saw the election results that happened within the past couple of weeks in Germany, where they had parliamentary elections. And if you look at the map of it's their equivalent of the county level results, and you also compare that to the map of the parts of Germany that were owned by the United States and the parts that were owned by the Soviet Union, you'll see that the parts that were owned by the Soviet Union are conservative, and the parts that were owned by us are super liberal, crazy people. Because the logical conclusion of liberalism is a slow march into insanity, right? And the Soviet bloc nations, they didn't lose their traditions because they didn't Americanize as quickly as the American owned side did, and so they held on to their traditions and values, and they didn't get the same programming over the same number of years. And it's really an interesting study in what our future is going to look like.
That's interesting. Stephen Akari, so we want no allies. Do we have any? Do we? If we're paying, we don't have. This is literally like saying that the rich guy, that the entourage that all the rappers have, that those guys are all friends. They all got each other's back. Well, yeah, as long as that rapper is paying the bill, sure. Got lots of friends. Stop paying. See what happens. Look, all we did was say we weren't going to take that. We wanted Ukraine to do this, and England, the Prime Minister of England, spent half an hour lambasting us and 15 minutes kissing our ball sack because he knows that he doesn't get anything except by doing so. Poland, actually, Mr. Boulay, that's right, and they pay cash. So an ally pays cash. Poland's the only one. You're right about that, Mr. Boulay. I like that. You're right. Arthur Daya says it would not translate into good national security. We don't need air bases all over the world to have good national security.
Yeah, so there's a good example of that is real and tangible. So the United States left the Philippines in the early 90s and left like 20-something bases in the Philippines, and you didn't see the Philippines get taken over by other countries, did you?
No, not that I recall.
No, is there like you hear in the news all the time that they're having constant wars, right? Because they can't manage their own security. So it's obvious that we needed to be there. Right?
I believe that there's a lot of passport bros.
Yeah.
They might be having, penis wars or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but like us leaving a country was really good for the country, right? So why not just let the rest of the world manage themselves instead of us be their nanny? And my point about that map about Germany and the way that it was split up is that the impact of American influence on foreign nations is worse than the impact of the Soviet Union on other nations.
You know that, and that's actually true. I think it's interesting how we always go back to, well, we do so much good in the world, but you can't name a single country since World War II that we've had a positive influence on. Not one, except Poland. That's because they buy all their guns from us. But the Korean War, the country split in half. They're still divided. Vietnam, well, that fucking worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, look at Tokyo. Tokyo, there's young women sleeping on the streets waiting for a sugar daddy to come and pick them up because we've exported our female empowerment nonsense over to them, and they think that they can just pick up a sugar daddy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they basically just sleep on the street waiting for a guy to pick them up.
All right, hold on. Arthur Dye, why does China have international strength? They have 0 bases anywhere in the world. They don't even have a real fucking navy. Why do they have international strength?
It's the reason why we had international strength prior to World War II. And we had a massive industrial base. And we had that massive industrial space because we had a free market that was able to use capital efficiently.
Correct. China has vast economic strength. They also have a military strength, but the honest reason that everyone's kind of afraid of China is because the Chinese, most countries, the Americas, we're a little slow on the uptake. Most countries are afraid of China because China, they just kill people. They don't mess around. I got a really good story here in a second. I missed something and I want to go back and make sure we get Kevin. Yeah. So Kevin, you're partially right that, the jobs thing, But the idea is that we bring all those people back and we're not paying all of that money out. You could actually hire or use soldiers like we used to in this country to build roads, and the Army Corps of Engineers built lakes like right down the street from me. That's how that should work. But it doesn't, because why? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Arthur
Dyer, if
Dyer
we
made a
don't
good point.
hold on. Arthur Dyer, if we don't have troops in foreign countries fighting foreign wars that have jack shit to do with America, you won't need people needing medical care in foreign countries. So I don't understand why this is such a hard thing to understand. It's very simple. So simple. What's up, Straight Jacket 5150? How you doing tonight? We're just bullshitting tonight, guys. It's not even serious shit. What we got here?
Yeah, I love talking about foreign policy. This is good stuff. It's almost as fun as talking about the monetary.
They have. Oh, I stand corrected. The PLA has a base in Djibouti. Not even lying. I'm not even kidding. I'm not being funny. That's not even. I'm not being funny.
A base in Djibouti. Huh?
They have almost twice the small ships. They have one aircraft carrier, right? Am I right about that? They have one aircraft carrier.
Don't we have 6 that are constantly under repair and not functional because that we don't have the industrial base to be able to maintain them?
That seems to be the rhetoric now. I don't know that that's true. I think we have. I know that we're supposed to have 3 at sea all the time, but or maybe more than that. But maybe it's 3 in each sea at sea every time, all the time. But they moved them so that they're all kind of in that China, Taiwan, India kind of beltway there, where they usually live, right? Just like in the Vietnam War. It's literally like looking at ship placement in the Vietnam War. It's the same deal. Same shit. Different day.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand us having a big navy. That makes logical sense because that's you're not invading someone else's territory. You're not causing conflict unless you're trying to start the Vietnam War or something, the Gulf of Tonkin. But otherwise, it makes sense to keep a military, but a navy, but a standing. We don't even need a standing army. Like if we
I've heard that.
We had National Guards that were robust, then that would be enough.
If we look at history, they tried that leading into World War II. And you ever heard the term China Marine?
No.
Yeah, so the Marines actually got so small in number that most of them, when World War II broke out, most of them that weren't actually at Camp Lejeune, most of them were in China. And that was where they and they were actually, they had a bunch of them kind of not caught there, trapped there, but they were there when the Japanese invaded China and went, they penetrated pretty far in, right? And what was interesting is that as Stalin was doing his nonsense and the White Russians were well, actually, I guess it wasn't Stalin yet. It was Rasputin, and I guess it was Stalin, wasn't it, that killed the Tsar?
Yeah. No, that was Lenin. Lenin.
Thank you. So as the Tsar is getting killed, the White Russians were fleeing through China, and they all got stuck in Beijing and Hong Kong because there were no ships. The Japanese weren't really allowing ships to move in and out freely. And so the Chinese were in the Marines were in China to help secure American interest in that area. Mostly at that point in time, it was missionaries, traveling around China, preaching to the poor. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's just an interesting sidebar about, but it was actually considered it was not considered an honorable pursuit to be a soldier at that point, right? Like most people that were in the service at that point, it was like the only thing they could do. A lot of them had been told by a judge somewhere that you either go enlist in the military or you're going to jail, and that was the state of our military leading up into World War II.
Yeah,
And
it explains why our industrial base was large enough, because we didn't spend money on things that we didn't need. If we were
yes,
able to
that's
pivot
correct.
that massive industrial base
That's
into
that's
supporting the
correct.
war effort, which is why you
That's
want a lean military.
Yes, that's correct. And so, yeah, we got to get out of that. We got to get out. We got to quit messing around with the world, guys. We have no positive effects on the world, as at large. So.
So Arthur
Yeah.
Dial, what difference does it make if China has military bases in other countries? Like, who cares?
Yeah. His martial arts teacher said the Chinese won against the Japanese invaders because the Japanese ran out of bullets. That's partially true. Partially true. The real I think the real reason is that, help me. I mean, I hope that, I don't know how deep your World War II knowledge is, but so Japan, they don't have any oil. And at that point in time, there was no deep water drilling technology for them to get oil. They have oil. They had oil. They didn't know it. They're drilling all through the South China Sea right now, but that time there really wasn't any oil in Japan, and they needed it. So they invaded China thinking they were going to get it, but China didn't really have any oil. They were not an industrialized country, and so there was no real reason for it to happen. Or there was nowhere to get oil. But Japan's ultimate goal, and the reason that they joined the Axis powers to begin with, was they wanted to march across China through Burma and into Turkey, where their oil had just then become very common to drill, and that's what they wanted. They didn't care about Hitler's goals. They didn't care about being a world superpower. They needed oil for their industrial complex.
But why did they do that?
Why did they do it that way?
They were getting 80% of their oil from the United States.
Yes, that's correct.
FDR cut them off, and it forced them into a position where they had to act.
Well, all right. So we can get into that.
FDR caused Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, that's that. You're right. That's correct. But remember, the reason it happened is Roosevelt warned the Japanese that, hey, we need all of our oil for our war effort. But talking out of both sides of his mouth, at the same time, while he was telling them that we couldn't sell them any oil, he cut it further than he needed to entice them into going into war, because he wanted the U.S. in World War II.
Yeah.
He wanted it. He knew that he needed it, and to maintain control of the country, or not maintain, but to increase control of the country. He saw it as a way to get out of the Great Depression. He saw to him it was all upside getting into this war. The problem is that nobody else not nobody, but most people in the U.S. did not want to be in the war at all, and that's why he purposefully, and there's a lot of documentation about this now, purposefully allowed the lead up to Pearl Harbor. And I actually blame Roosevelt for Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. 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 And we've talked about this before, Grid. I think that you disagreed with me, and I think you've looked at stuff since you disagreed with me.
No, I didn't disagree with you about that. Okay. No,
okay.
I've never disagreed with you about that.
Okay.
But I generally disagree with people who think that Japan got into, and we may have disagreed on why Japan was doing that. It wasn't just because of the oil. It wasn't just because we quit selling them oil. It's that there was nobody else had any oil for them either. They couldn't get it anywhere. They needed it out of North Africa and in Turkey in the Middle East, and that was their and this is think about how ridiculous the idea is that you as a tiny little country have enough military might to push through China, which is massive, through India and Burma into Turkey and maintain a supply line that's going to be able to allow you to take the oil from Turkey all the way back to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was expensive. It was a tremendous use of resources, and
Yeah.
and it would have been totally avoided. There would have been lots of lives saved. And from my perspective, I don't. So the problem was is that, that there was a desire to prevent Japan from becoming an empire, right? Because for some reason, like only specific countries were allowed to have colonial possessions, which I don't understand. Like Arthur Dyer right
That
now
goes
saying
back
that
to
China can't
Britain.
have colonial possessions. If China wants Taiwan, China
Yeah.
can have Taiwan. That doesn't have anything to do with me.
Right. And that's my stance now, right? Like I don't care. I don't care what happens in the sandbox. We've spent 70 years and billions upon billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of soldiers' lives in a desert where people don't give a shit about us. They don't like us. They don't care anything about us being there except when we're giving them stuff. Why are we doing that? And it used to be because of oil, right? That was the big thing as well. You know, we're going to run out of oil. We got to have the oil. You know, it's the same thing. It's literally the same exact motivation that the Japanese were using in World War II.
Well, it's frustrating too on the individual level. That's why the voting pattern of soldiers is typically for someone who wants peace, because they see firsthand. Like my younger brother, he was in Mosul, and he was a part of taking of that land in Iraq. And then a few years later, you know, that all was given back, and ISIS took it over, right? And so all of the blood that he watched get spilled to maintain that possession for the United States was just politically irrelevant. It was a complete waste of our time and resources and his sanity. Yeah, and it's mind-boggling that people aren't more upset about this. I don't understand why it's not a bigger issue, but I think it has to do with a small percentage of the population that serves in the military. It's like 2%.
Yeah.
Of the population, and if there was a universal franchise associated with military service, then we would be in way fewer wars. I mean, there would be.
I don't know that you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong about that. I don't know that you're right, but I don't know that you're wrong either. The interesting thing to me is that everyone in here is like, oh, why we got to have these people here? We got to have this. We got to support these allies. We got to support that. No, we don't. We really don't. Like it's absolutely crazy to me. And look, I don't run. I wouldn't run from a fight. I enjoy shooting. I enjoy all of these things, but I don't see what the reason. I don't see the reason for any of this anymore. Especially going into Saudi Arabia, right? Like into North Africa, all the way up into the Middle East. Why are we even there? They don't like us. They're mostly Muslims. Why are Christians going into Muslim countries, trying to tell them how to live their lives and how to do what it is they do? If they did that here, it would be a massive. It is a massive, like, rejection. It causes everything, a lot of hate and discontent. So how are we surprised that when we go there, that's what we get? Like, this is the craziest thing. You cannot. I challenge anyone to point to a modern conflict that the U.S. has been involved in where the outcome was actually positive? I don't think you can. I'm Vietnam? No. The 70 years of war in the Middle East? No.
Yeah,
Korean War? No. No, we did not do, I mean, we did not do anything in the Korean War except prevent, you know, we managed the establishment of North Korea, which has been a giant pain in the ass.
yeah. If you ever go back and read like the history of Vietnam and like all of the things that happened in that country, where we were essentially what we were doing was propping up one puppet dictator after another, and then one would just basically be destroyed by his own people, and we prop up a different one, and he would be destroyed by his own people, and prop up a different one until we got to one that was ruthless enough to keep his power. And it's we do that. It's the same model that we have in a lot of other countries in the world right now, where like in Egypt we're propping up the military generals there to keep control. We're doing this all over the world, creating this massive amount of ill will towards the American government, towards the American people. That is it's a recipe for lots of people to want to attack us. It's making us less secure to meddle in all these other countries because we're giving them a reason to dislike us. All these weapons that are being used to delete people, those people have family members, and they're going to grow up hating us. And
Yeah,
and
no, that's
and
exactly what happened.
it's being done. It's being done with my money against my will.
Yeah. And we are literally gaslit, duped, shilled, conned, whatever you want to talk about. The entire American people gets conned into this. We get sold a bill of goods that we're going to go over and we're going to fight these stupid people for these other stupid people, and it's going to make everything better. And it's never once has. Taiwan is a major manufacturer of computer chips because we sent them there. Actually, we didn't. Biden did. Arthur Daya, this is terrible. I'm so disappointed. And we're bringing it back. Trump just announced the other night in his speech that they've already got the deal. The chip making is coming back, is going right back to Silicon Valley where it belongs.
Well, so that's a private sector issue also, right? So the government, so we don't need to get caught up in this thing's made here, this thing's made there. If we have a free market without all these artificial barriers to our productivity, then it won't. We will naturally build a robust economy if we have the right mixture of people in it. But just because we were powerful 50 years ago doesn't mean that we deserve power. Right. And it doesn't mean because we have control of things now, Arthur Diet, doesn't mean that we deserve control of it later. We have to earn it. It's not an entitlement to have a chip manufacturing plant in your country.
Yeah. So, Kevin, it's not that they're cutting taxes for the manufacturers. My understanding, and Trump hasn't really, as far as I know, released any details of the deal. Maybe Anson knows something I don't know. But my understanding is that Biden made the deal to send those chips to Taiwan, not because it was a tax deal or anything like that, but because he really wanted to stick it to Silicon Valley and Bezos and everybody else. And because Trump had said, no, you couldn't do that, that it was a security issue. The companies want to make them offshore for a couple of reasons, mostly because they can get around certain security protocols, things like that. They can also make chips for other countries than us. It's hard to do that in Silicon Valley. It's very controlled. So that's why that's coming back. Realistically, should not have ever let it go. Trump knew that. Biden did what Biden does and fucked up.
So Arthur Daya made a trading point that I kind of want to address.
Well, actually, let me address Steve Akara. Steve Akara, Biden did send the chip manufacturing I'm speaking of to Taiwan. Trump nixed the deal in 2018, I think, 2019, going into the 2020 election. He nixed the deal. He said, no, not doing it. Biden got into office. All of a sudden, everything's clear, and they sent it to there. Yeah, the CHIP Act. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Biden didn't send a bunch of money to them under the CHIP Act trying to get them made here. He sent a bunch of money to the CHIP Act to have them made offshore. That's why. So that's the let me make sure that I'm speaking of the right thing that Biden did.
Yeah, I'll if you don't mind, I'll poke him with my point that I was going to make. And
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
So Arthur Daya, the fact that other countries make necessary goods, and that we have an imbalance right now in what we produce compared to what we consume, and the reason we have that is because we export dollars to other countries and import goods in exchange for them because we have a finance-based economy built around the monetization of our currency, right? So if you want to fix the problem of the imbalance caused by our industrial base being in other places, then you have to have real money in place. You can't just say, well, we have to have it, right? It's got to be here, because if there's no if the market isn't set up that way, then it's not going to happen. So in order to get that industrial base here of the chip makers and all that, we'd have to get back on some sort of a real money standard instead of sending currency out everywhere in exchange for goods. It's an artificial economy that we have that's finance based.
Yeah, so Biden's CHIP Act was $6.6 billion to ramp up U.S. production. The Taiwan company that's bringing the chips back to the U.S. they're spending $100 billion. So 6.6 versus 100 billion. Private sector wins again. So
see, I look at a lot of the foreign policy arguments made by people who are interventionists. They're entitlement based arguments. We got to have this. We got to have that. Me. Right? When they're not looking at the cost and the duty involved in what it is that they're asking for. They're not saying,
yeah.
Well, they're saying, I don't care what the cost is. I got to have it. Right? And that's not sustainable. It's just as prideful as someone who says that they deserve something from someone else that they didn't work for. Right? It's an illogical position, Arthur Dyer.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, it's an interesting thing that everyone. I mean, it's very interesting to listen to how many people are just perfectly great to or are perfectly happy to continuously send U.S. troops to die on foreign shores, to let American jobs go overseas. It's fine for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg situation, right? So if you want the industrial base and the things here that will keep us safe because it'll grow our economy and make us stronger, then we have to retract our military, right? But if we retract our military, then people are going to be, less protected, right? They'll have less security. Security doesn't provide you with anything. It provides you with the illusion of protection.
Yeah.
It's a chicken and egg problem.
Well, I mean, it's all right. Let's not be. I don't want to be disingenuous here, right? So,
I'm being serious.
I know you are. I don't want to be disingenuous. So here's my thing about it. It's not just no new foreign wars, it's not rhetoric, right? Like this is. I honestly believe that we've done nothing but fuck up for the past 60, 70 years. My grandfather, thankfully he's gone, would be super pissed to see that we send Germany money every year, that we're spending tax dollars to prop up Europe so that they can have free health care, free this, better, public transportation, all of these things that everybody says they want in America. And yet, the only reason that those things can exist is because they don't have to, Europe doesn't have to provide for security for themselves. They don't have to, they live under the cloak of protection the US provides. And by the US, I don't mean the president, the cabinet, the Congress. I mean Anson Knowles' tax dollars. I mean my tax dollars. I mean Arthur Dias' tax dollars. I mean every single American's tax dollars goes to help foreign countries that don't like us. They don't want to help us.
My great grandchildren are going to be paying those tax dollars because of the inflation of the currency and the debt that will occur.
Well,
related to paying it
again,
off.
the financial model is such that if we did actually reduce spending at the rate that if you didn't change the tax rate, right? Like if you just left taxes alone for like 10 years, but you pulled most of the military, most of the troops, most of the, all the equipment, everything back to the US, and you just basically became, isolationist. The amount of money saved is ridiculous. Not to mention that by having more manufacturing, selling to ourselves, keeping that money in-house, not offshoring dollars after dollars, that all helps us. It all helps. I think the chip thing, I think maybe we're talking past each other on chip thing. I'm talking very specifically about the chipsets that were originally were going to be sent to Taiwan in Trump's administration. He denied that. Now they're coming back because of the giant whatever. I've already closed the window, but the Japanese or Taiwanese company that's massive and is going to make us $100 billion reinvestment into being able to make them here. My personal theory is that they just can't actually make them in Taiwan fast enough because Taiwan's an island with a limited number of people, and they physically don't have enough people to do it, and they don't have enough space to have enough machines to do it. So that's why it's moving back. Location. But that's irrelevant. A lot of the chips, the 6.6 billion that Biden was going to send out is nothing. The chip company is going to make $100 billion investment to bring it back. Why are you guys arguing about this? This is dumb. But by the way, most of the chips the chips I'm talking about are the higher end chips that were made in Silicon Valley to begin with for supercomputers, all of it, we're not talking about random stuff here. The chips that most people are actually concerned about in the global economy right now are the chips that operate your vehicles and your coffee makers. And my camera has a chip in it. They're not high-end computer chips. They're not gaming computer chips. So, yeah.
Well, what difference does it make what other countries produce if that's what we're doing?
Well, everyone's trying to say it's a zero-sum game, and it's not.
Yeah, well, it's the prideful position that you take when you don't want to look at yourself and ask yourself, why is this stuff happening where all of these activities are going other places? Why isn't it happening here? Instead of saying, oh, it doesn't need to be there, it has to come back. Why don't you say, why did it leave in the first place? What's wrong with our system that our incentive structure caused it to go away? It's like someone who's too prideful to ask themselves hard questions. And the problem is our overregulation, our tax code, our labor laws, minimum wage, like all the things in our economy.
Did you see the thing that Trump signed about that the EPA? Oh, and there's another agency and there's 3 agencies, and he sent a memo out saying that they cannot enforce any policy or law that interferes with production or production, manufacturing, and something else in the U.S.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, that'll go a big way, because that Federal Register, where they put all those regulations in, those alphabet agencies that basically control our lives, that is a giant hindrance on the productive class. And they used to do that in Weimar Germany. They would create regulations to slow the economy down, because the currency was flowing through the economy so fast that they had to figure out a way to slow it down so it wouldn't burn out. And we don't need that kind of distortion. And like my job exists because of regulation, right? I help the private sector cope with all of that nonsense. That's the only reason why I'm employed doing what I do. I'm a waste. I'm a drag on the economy. Every dollar that I earn is money that could have been spent on something productive. And people don't look at it like that. They just look at it like, I want my money, I want my job.
Hold on, Anson. I hate to interrupt your rant. Arthur Daya, please, God, tell me why, if they did all of the manufacturing here, the cost of a cell phone would double. Please help me out with that. Do you know there's not any labor in manufacturing cell phones? They don't have people soldering cell phones together. It's a machine. You need people to load the machine. Make payphones great again. I like Smoking Spaceman style. That's actually a legit answer. Arthur Dye, why are you not up here arguing with me?
Yeah, I want to argue with you too. I'm usually nice to you. I want to be mean to you today.
You have been mean to Arthur Dye. I've been nice to Arthur Dye. You have not.
Yeah, I want to make her cry.
Don't do that. Maybe later.
Okay.
She's typing furiously right now, probably on her phone.
She's got to push the cats out of the way a lot. That's why it's slowing her down.
How many cats are we up to now, anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
Labor unions. Wait, hold on. Wait. Labor unions for the machines? Hold on. Who said that? Drunk 10-year-olds are hard to wrangle. Hell, drunk 30-year-olds are hard to wrangle. They actually don't let children work in the cell phone factories. By the way, Anson, I got to ask you, brother. I really do have to ask you this, because you're from Alabama. What do you think about child labor laws in this country?
I think
you're in a safe space. You can say what you want.
I think that child labor laws are irrelevant.
Okay.
Because the market for labor is what it is. And if we are in a subsistence level position, or in a position where we were, 150 years ago, then no law is going to keep us from hiring the people that we need to do what we need to do at the wage price that we need to hire them at. Labor laws are an illusion. But I think that it's immoral to, hire children, just personally, from my own belief system, because they don't have agency. But it's not immoral to hire a child if them working is the only way that they'll eat. There are some countries in this world where child labor is used, and the fact that child has a job means that child has food.
That's true.
And that is not immoral. That is a good. And so it's not a simple yes or no answer. It's much more nuanced. It depends on the person, the time, the place, and what their specific situation is.
This is a letdown of an answer, because we rely on cheap foreign labor to produce the chips and parts. We do not.
You notice though, her orientation was outward. It wasn't inward. It wasn't what's wrong with us. It's these other people's fault, right? It's a prideful position that she's taking, but she's not asking hard questions about what's wrong with me, what's wrong with us.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you like a technical answer to this question.
Yeah, Mr. Boulay.
No, I'm not ready yet. Not ready yet. Yeah, right. Or deal with American business regulations and business taxes. Yeah. Well, we can change those things. Oh, Sport Brand got smacked around by WMD. That's hilarious. Because they want cheap foreign labor and don't want to pay American wages. So this is an interesting thing, right? It's not that cheap to have the skilled labor in China as it is here. It's the difference in economy and, some things like that. But where do you think most cell phones are made, Anson?
South Carolina.
Not yet, but probably soon for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You were right. You were partially right,
yeah.
And you got the consonant, and you got one consonant right.
Oh, South Sudan.
Close. It's South Korea. Why are you jerking me around like this? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with Anson Knowles tonight?
You're off your game.
I know what's wrong. He hasn't been getting cuddled by his ex-wife.
Yeah.
That's what he's missing, the cuddles.
The late night booty calls.
Yeah. So no, I'm a little keyed up actually because I've been working on that new channel I've been working on all week. I haven't been sleeping much because I've been trying to build, videos and stuff. So
yeah. Kevin L said he got it right. South Korea. He got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Well, actually, stand by. So we should have no labor laws. Let me think about that for a minute. Why? What labor laws help? It's interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll throw that one out to Mr. Boulay and Anson Knowles. What labor laws actually help?
Well, yeah, go, Mr. Boulay.
Well, okay, I don't. Those that are not 18 or over, there should be some limits, but that's my preference. That's my preference.
These are all just preferences, but that's okay.
So you want the government to control what the parents want their children to do? You want a nanny state? Is that what you're saying?
No,
we currently have a nanny state.
Well, we already have a nanny state. So
I believe that if you're under 17, maybe 18, you can't work 40 hours a week without parental permission. You cannot work more than 40 hours a week legally.
Yeah, something like that.
And if you're 12, you can't work you can work at like 12 years old in a home-based business, but not in a regular, like in a restaurant or something. I believe the youngest you can actually work a part-time job is 15. I think it's 15.
Yeah, it's 15.
And you have to have your parents' permission.
Yeah.
And you can only work like 12 hours a week or something.
Yeah, but y'all are really only focusing on one facet of labor law.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I was just trying
to. I'm thinking on it because I said, I asked you what you thought about child labor laws, and you're like, you answered correctly that why do we have those? And then Ghost asked you, said there should be no labor laws.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm wondering what labor laws actually help. So if you say, well, it keeps employers from overworking people, I would say no. I happen to know for a fact that I've had employees willingly work 60, 70, 80 hours a week as long as they were getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah. Let the market, let the employer, I don't want to say dictate terms, but let them set the precedence for it. Yeah. So if you want a high quality worker, you are going to be willing as an employer to offer, benefits or a competitive, wage, all that jazz to attract the quality people you want in your business. So let the free market run it.
WMD got Mr. too. WMD's vicious tonight. Vicious. It's a vicious creature. The vicious creature.
If we went to a true, draconian, work, environment in the U.S. where there's no OSHA and no Department of Labor and all that jazz, I don't think it's going to be detrimental. The capitalism will take care of everything. If you want to hire quality people, you're going to offer quality benefits. You're going to offer the highway, because if not, guess what? Somebody's going to go somewhere else to work.
Yeah.
Let the free market take care of it.
Yeah. So this is interesting. We do make it incredibly expensive to run a company, and Arthur Dye says no American is going to go to work in a factory for 16 hours a day with no lunch break. I challenge that. I challenge that. I bet I can get a guy to do that. Americans want lunch breaks, healthcare, 401k, etc. Some, for sure.
So let me tell you a story about my aunt.
iPhones are assembled in many countries, including China, Taiwan, Vietnam, India, and other Asian countries. That's true. I know the guy who set that up, and he's still mad that they didn't leave it in the U.S. because of all the nonsense that they had to go through. Pardon me, not to.
So I'll tell you my labor law story. So my aunt's a dumb redneck down in South Mississippi who lives in a trailer.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. And anyway,
color me surprised.
Yeah, so when she got married, she was way too young and got pregnant way too young to a guy who was a dumb redneck. Anyway, he had to start working when he was 14 years old to support his family. His parents weren't there for him, and he didn't have a choice. And he forged documentation so that he could go work on an oil rig and be able to support himself at 14. Right? Because there were these laws in the way to prevent him from doing what he needed to do to survive.
Yeah.
And that's why these laws are bad, because it is the same way with wage laws. They create all these incentives for all these illegal immigrants to come here and work secretly in a second-class way. Democrats love to put people into second-class status. And or not just Democrats, but American history in general. We put these people into these second-class statuses and make them hide who they are to make them work, and it's not right.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds really libertarian of me to say that. I feel like, or not, I don't feel like my understanding of labor laws has changed over the years, having dealt with employees and seen all the garbage nonsense that the difference between what people think, what the government actually does, and all of that. So I'm just going to tell you, anyone that thinks labor laws help employees or businesses in this country, I have a bridge. It's famous. It's for sale. And I'll make you a great deal. Yeah. Because it's a load of tripe. I mean, it really is. And look, if you don't want kids to work, the parents won't let them work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hardworking people out there, but most people aren't willing to work. How I did as a young man, they want to play video games and coom. Yes. And that's why we need to remove the labor laws so that parents can send their kids to work at 14 years old at the skating rink or do they even skate? Do kids skate anymore? I don't know. Movie theater. I worked in both of those, skating rink and movie theaters. They were great jobs for a young man.
I was a projectionist when movies were still on film.
How many beds and bath is that bridge? I think there's 0 beds and 0 bathrooms on that. But I mean, look. Yeah, union, make sure you get good benefits. This is actually something that I'm trying to get to the bottom of the benefit game, because I think it's a scam on both the employer and the employee. I used to think it was just a scam on the employee, because basically you thought you were getting the so the way that the idea there, or the way that and tell me if you guys have heard this, the way that people sell benefits to employees is that, well, I can only pay you 50 grand a year, but your benefit package is worth a cool 60 G's. So it's like you're making 110 grand. But I've looked into this a little bit, and that's not in any way accurate.
No, it's
Now,
not.
if you were to somehow be able to massage each and every single benefit, like you had your teeth done, you got a new pair of eyes, you stubbed your toe 4 times, and all of these other things, and you qualify perfectly every time, then maybe you get your 60K. But most people, that benefits package is worth jack shit.
Oh, here's the thing. Especially the bigger the corporation or company, the same the packages are. They're all basically same healthcare, same dental, same 401k matching. They're all the same. So there's really no delineation, unless you're fortunate like myself, who actually joined a company that's 100% employee owned.
Holy shit. Helping Hound? Dude, seriously? Well, that's brilliant. That's a growth industry. I should have done that. What the hell? How did I not think of that? You guys didn't get the joke. That's all right. That's all right. So, Mr. Boulay, do you think I'm right about compensation package?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I
would rather have the cash and pay for my own insurance.
If I was with any of the other companies that I've worked for in my past, I would agree with you. But company I'm with
looking at this
is the
more of
exception to the rule. So, but
I'm looking at this more as like a
in general,
blue collar guy who's working he's a tradesman. Maybe he's HVAC guy. He's making he's pulling down a suite. 70 grand a year, throwing outlets in houses and doing new construction build outs. And, and instead of paying him a cool 80 G's, he gets paid 60 grand, and he's told he's got a $40,000 compensation package, which makes it, it's the same as getting paid 100 grand. So, but he's not. Right? He's getting paid 60 grand plus whatever benefits he actually maintains. And it would have been cheaper in a lot of cases, it's cheaper for people to, and I need to do the latest research on this. So I might be out of date. I'm not saying I've done this in the last year or so, but the last time I did this research, it was cheaper if you paid for your own insurance and your own and dental and optical if you needed it and all that kind of stuff. It was cheaper if you paid a la carte what you needed than if you ended up effectively making more money than if you took the benefits package and have the salary, right? So instead of getting a $50,000 job and a $40,000 compensation package that was meaningless, if you got $70,000 for the job, hey, you're making 20,000 less, but by the time you boil it down, you're actually making more.
And many companies require you to join, the benefits package, whether you want to or not, so that they can maintain the collective bargaining, assets that they collect from your paycheck so that they can go out and pay for, your health insurance and all that jazz. So in many respects, you have no choice but to participate in the benefits.
That's
package.
true.
Right?
That's very true. And I dislike that. I think that that's a bad policy.
Yeah.
Helping Hound, which part is this a right? I am in a right to work state.
So is Alabama, other than those businesses that are already grandfathered in with unions, but Anson would know that better than me.
Well, I don't know nothing about labor laws except, I don't really care if we have unions or not. They're irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, unions that are given protections by the government, now that's important because it's just like any other business. If there's special privileges provided to you, there were labor laws that were written that made unions way more powerful than they needed to be because they forced employers to interact with them. Employers shouldn't be forced into any sort of negotiation whatsoever with labor unions. It should be, if they want to fire everybody for joining the union, why not? They're the ones hiring them. Why are you going to force them? It's like putting the employer into a slave position to tell them they're forced to use their resources to employ someone.
$2 comes in from K2. Keep on trucking. Right to work is gay. Not here. It isn't. Right to work. Honestly, if you want to kill your political career in the state of Tennessee, there's two things that you can do. And that is go full union. Say we're going to go full union, and talk about a state sales tax or income tax, pardon me. If you say state income tax, your career is over and you're done. Like nobody's ever going to vote for you or in any numbers. And talking about pandering to the unions more will that'll get you too. Although the labor unions have gained a little bit of a foothold because of all the automotive manufacturing that's come in, where they were pre-existing and we couldn't do anything about them. But it's a good way to get get out of politics if that's what you want.
Speaking of unions and all in kind of the workplace, it really ticks me off, the last couple of weeks here, since the whole Doge thing took off and, federal employees being offered a severance package, or they go ahead and decide to, leave the workforce. And then they all get bent out of shape because Elon sent an email out, said, hey, why don't you tell me what you did last week?
Right. I love that.
I'm going to cuss.
I used to do that too. I used to, so have you ever, I don't know if you guys ever filled out, had small company jobs where you had to fill out time cards or anything, but I used to have, all the employees had to write that. So the way that we billed was by the job. And so employees had a time card for the day and they would bill, it wasn't really a time card. They would go over, if they worked 3 hours on this car or this project, they would go over, get a card, write, their employee number, name, how many hours, and what they did specifically.
Yeah.
I took the taillight off. I cleaned it. It was corroded. I replated it and I reinstalled it, and that was 3.5 hours. And then there had down below that there was materials, and whatever materials they used, they had to write in if they used brake clean, if they used oil, if they used grease, if they whatever. If they had to go to had to have something ordered in, they had to have the PA number or the PO number of what was ordered, and that was all because I would literally have people that would turn up for 40 hours of week, pay for a week, and I couldn't remember that they'd done any work at fucking all. And I was like, okay, and it was really hard to build cars because we build by the hour. So
you're describing a model that's extraordinarily similar to the one that I used when I was working in a public accounting firm, because I had to fill out a timesheet that was like to the minute what I did, and if it was overhead time, meaning not billable directly to a customer, then I was a drain on the company, and I couldn't have too much time that was a drain on the company, or I would get let go. Because that's the difference between the government and the private sector. The government has no incentive to be efficient.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They have to create laws and force people into doing it. And as people's natural inclination to not want to work, well, many people's natural inclination to not want to work hard these days, it hasn't always been that way. But if the government employees have to whine about listing 5 things they did in the week, I've had to list 5 things I've done in an hour before for a private sector job. They can shut the fuck up.
Right. No, that's the thing. I mean, I had to, I didn't have to do it this way, but I had done that before, and I just basically created the same thing. And then somebody in like I want to say like 2010, they wrote an app. I still have it. I probably still have it on my phone. I haven't used it in years, but it's called It's called Time Card, and you literally from anywhere you type in, well, I did this, I did that, and so one of the few problems I had is when people would go outside the shop and I couldn't watch what they were doing, and nobody's, so they go, you don't know what they're doing, right? So they could say, well, we went and picked up this car and it took 4 hours. It didn't really take 4 hours, but we don't know. We have no way of proving that. And so the time card app, it would basically, so they would, when they left the shop, they would click, they punch in leaving shop. And when they drove to wherever pick everything up, or pick up a car or pick up parts or whatever, when they got there, they would, that's drive time. That's counted differently as, actual work time. So they would, put a clock in there. And what they didn't realize at first, and kind of screwed a few of them, was that it had a GPS function. So it logged how long it took to get to this location, how long they stayed at that location, and how long they drove back, and all of that. So they couldn't say, well, they couldn't go to lunch and then say, well, we got stuck in traffic for 45 minutes, right? Because I'd see that in the app. It was great. It was the best thing ever. So,
yeah. Kudos, everything Anson said. These federal workers are snowflakes. They're going to get bent out of shape to write a little email. It's going to take them less than probably 2. It should take them no more than 2 minutes to write. And clearly, they haven't even been tracking what the hell they're doing, if they've even accomplished anything. Yeah. So they wouldn't survive 2 weeks in the real world. So F them. F them.
You know what I love, Mr. Boulay, is
yes,
I used to love it when I would hear people, and I mean, these were usually clients. I would hear somebody who was like worked at Raytheon, or Ball Aerospace or somewhere like that. They would come by and be like, man, this government contract stuff sucks. They're all over me. I'm going to go into the private sector and do whatever I want. And I used to love that, because I was like, you have no clue how good you have it right now. Like nobody cares what you don't have to produce results. When you get out there in the real world, you have to produce results. And when you don't, they fire you. And I remember there's this one guy, and he was actually a really brilliant guy, but he had no idea about anything. He was totally leftist. He was really crazy, but I think he was actually communist, but like really communist. He didn't say that, he meant it. Brilliant though, absolutely brilliant. He's like, I'm going to go in a private sector. I'm going to be a contractor, blah blah blah. And I'm like, there's no way. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You can't manage your time. You don't you get mad when you're asked for results. I mean, what are you talking about? You're going to private sector? You're going to be a contractor? Yeah, that'll last 2 weeks. $2 comes back in from K2 Keep On Trucking. As a Teamster, I love what Trump and Elon's doing. Okay. I'm fairly anti-union, so don't hate me for that. So,
well,
yeah, I'm pro-union. I think people ought to associate with anyone they want to associate with in a free society. If people want to get together and collectively bargain with their employer, they ought to be free to do that. The employer ought to be free to fire every single one of them.
Yes. Yes. Now, if that's the way it worked, I'd be behind it 100%.
And I thought you believed in free enterprise.
That is free enterprise.
That's actually the definition of free enterprise.
I was trying to see if I could
get a rise out of
my joke. about Star
No,
Trek.
I love the joke. I love Star Trek jokes, man. I've seen all the Star Trek movies. I own them all. I've seen every one of the episodes of every one of the TV shows. I love even the Scott Bakula Star Trek Enterprise from the mid 2000s. That was my jam right there.
They never gave that show a chance.
I know, man. I don't know why. It was the best though. I mean that was
I thought, honestly, yeah.
It was the prequel. It was the one that started in all. The first episode in that series is probably the best Star Trek episode in a TV show. It is by far my favorite, and is vastly underappreciated. That was my nerd moment. I'll stop now, Grit. I'm sorry.
And the way
Kissy
they
Cat's
ended
making
it,
fun of you.
yeah,
So you
the
know.
way they ended it, yeah, they didn't. Yeah, that was bad. But anyway, Grit, I wanted to come up and kind of poke at you a little bit from
Yeah, go ahead.
Chaotic Truth show today. And what was that girl's name? But she was just like, you lit her up because she was just like, oh boy, no, they did.
Oh my God. I was like, and you know, the thing is she did not, I think she eventually realized it, but she thought she was really winning. Like, CT gaslit that poor broad.
Oh my God.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So you got the link, but the FAA report on the Alaskan Airlines.
Yeah, I did. And I was I was reading from it, and she's like, well, I don't understand. Well, yeah, whatever. It's just so bad.
Well, see, that's the thing. These freaking libs, they go off, their social warrior justice crap. But then when you start throwing them hard, true data, it's like, they're all talking from the same, what do you call them, talking points. They're all sharing the same talking points. It's just like, think for yourself, for God's sakes. Come on.
You know what's interesting about that exchange is that I think actually CT, I can't tell if CT's trolling on it or if he really believes that planes, have been falling out of the sky for a long time, so the DEI hire wasn't part of it. The problem is that the FAA, as your report showed, basically said that, it was it was an unqualified person who didn't tighten the bolts. Now, I've now heard, I know that they've changed their position on it slightly in saying that it could have been the company that does the
subassembly work. Yeah.
The subassembly work after, the final assembly work after it left, or not final assembly, the outfitting after it leaves Boeing, because when it leaves Boeing, it's not in its final configuration because every airline has their own seating arrangement.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they were basically, so Boeing tried to cop out and say, well, we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't tighten the bolts for the doors because the doors have to come off for the seats to go in, and bullshit, and more bullshit, and a little bit more bullshit. And in a roundabout way, they basically tried to say that it wasn't Boeing's fault. It was the whatever contractor with the that was a
I know what you're talking
United.
about.
That was United flight, I believe. And it was United or American, one of the two.
No, I thought it was Alaskan. The one that had the.
It was Alaskan. You're right.
Alaskan, yeah, the one with the door.
Yeah, it's Alaskan airline. Yeah. And so, so that they basically were saying that Alaskan Airlines, the people that they hired to do the outfitting, the final fitting, I should say, that it was their fault, and because they had not double checked that the doors were tightened, and Boeing assumed that the doors would come off, and that's why they didn't tighten it. But it's all DEI bullshit. It's all DEI.
Oh, I wanted to like try to reach out to you because CT. This is kind of pushback on CT.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about the 737 Max and the crashing because of that angle of attack sensor.
Yeah.
The problem with that was like a software thing, and Boeing did a terrible job of instructing the pilots on how that system works. They
Not
left
only
out-
that,
they
but
left
that
out a lot of
system was
information on that.
unproven. That system was unproven. They were not that it was there for convenience. It wasn't there to be like
an override
used day in, day out. Like it was, it wasn't a big deal, right? But it was a DEI issue because even though it was just a bunch of unqualified, unmotivated people. So,
I mean, yeah, I would argue that a little bit of the mentality from McDonnell Douglas, carried over into Boeing when they merged.
Anson wasn't here when Arthur Diet used the word dictate, which he would obviously change to dictates.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you are here. Look, he's back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not interested in Arthur Dyer anymore. I'm working with Eternal now. Arthur Dyer's old news.
Eternal. Eternal's in a completely different landmass.
I didn't know Anson is into Japanese anime.
Well, not in a long time. I used to be with a lady who was into Comic-Cons and dressing up as whatever those characters are and doing all that. Those girls that dress up in those outfits are hot. That's some awesome stuff.
That should be a law. You have to be hot to dress up hot like that. If you're not,
yeah,
do not dress up.
I agree. I agree with that.
I'm with that. We were in San Francisco one year when the Comic-Con was in the hotel that we were staying in. And I have to tell you that I used to really, really, as a young man, I looked up to Daphne a lot. And then at Comic-Con, I never thought I would say this, but I lost that. I lost all that for Daphne because some person, I'm going to assume gender here, that some female that weighed like 280 pounds dressed up as Daphne. It was not a good look. It was unforgettable. It was impactful.
And with that visual image in our head, we conclude tonight's episode of
Right?
One Motorsports.
I was just thankful she didn't do Velma because Velma, it would have been like that's too far. That's just too far.
Oh, that's too funny. That's awesome.
I mean, you can't even talk about that stuff.
It's Wally.
What's it, Wally?
We need clarity on it.
I heard there was a new promote that you work with Eternal hotline taking place, so I thought I'd call in.
Yeah, well, I think it's a cope stream for people who work with Eternal. The Eternal Thought.
Look, I think it's a franchise business model, Grid. Everyone's going to be mad they didn't think of it first.
I hope you're not paying much. No, Kevin, I did not go to a con. We happened to be my wife made these because my wife stays at very specific hotels. So my wife makes his reservations for the hotel in San Francisco. What we don't realize when we go check in, everything's normal. We come downstairs and there's space aliens. They got Conan running around. And they're just, there's, some chick dressed up in like skin tight leather, some superhero thing that I from some anime I've never heard of. She's at the breakfast buffet, but I was stuck in an elevator for like, from the first up to about the 11th floor. It was a lasting memory it ruined Daphne for me. It really did.
Now, in fairness, though, maybe they weren't supposed to be doing a Daphne cosplay. Maybe it was Sleepaway Camp.
I don't know what Sleepaway Camp is.
it's a horror. It's an old horror movie from like from the early '80s, where the twist is that this girl is the killer, but the girl is really a boy.
Yeah, that is a creepy movie, dude. That thing is weird. Like the twist at the end, that is disgusting, man. Oh, that thing gave me nightmares when I was a teenager. That is Sleepaway Camp is the worst movie that you need to watch when you're a teen. That's like perfect.
No, thank you. No.
Wally and I are homies. We have so much in common.
I'm sure that you're going to have at least a couple of things in common. Venereal disease. And...
Oh, come on, Grid. Like you said, she's on a different continent. What are you talking about, man?
Oh, and speaking of venereal diseases, good job, Anson, with the fight against the fur ball.
Oh,
yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
So, Mr. Boulay, you have been observing quietly all week. I gotta ask you before we go, because we're winding down. We're in the last we're in the last 25 minutes here. You've seen a lot of my work this week. What did you think about the I really want your impressions of the Furby last week, and then CT today. Overall impressions, and you can pick on things if you want to. I'm not going to get mad or anything.
Furby. I'll talk about it second, because there's something I wanted to bring up about it. As far as what with what's her name on CT's channel today, you did great. You kept your calm. You were just like, you stayed focused on hard facts, the true facts, not I feel this gives me the ick and all that crap. No, you stay on target, and that's what you did. That's why I was like, oh God, I hope Grid gets this link to the FAA report and whatever else I sent you, because you need the hard facts. And I know if you give, that's the biggest pushback. And it seems like, for my humble opinion, when it comes to the folks out here in the debate discussion community, to really beat these libs, always have hardcore facts, because they're going to moan and groan. Oh, but it aches. It makes me feel blah, blah, blah. They're the ones who are putting all this emphasis on, hey, a study conducted by the University of Cologne says out of 100 people, 26 of them like to do this with a feather.
Oh, my studies. Studies.
And Anson, I think he's going to know what I'm going to ask you about in just a minute. Because we're
okay. So what about Imperious? Do you think I handled Imperious? Do you think I handled Imperious properly? Because I feel like I won that engagement, and now he wants to finish the debate. And I'm like, absolutely, man, we'll do it.
No, you stayed on. Same thing. With him,
I had to calm him down a lot.
Yeah. He's going to be his own undoing, because he's coming into these places with the shock value, and he's going into it. This is what he does for fun. Okay, that's fine. That's his thing. That's cool. So be it. But the way to push back against him is exactly what you did today. Hit the facts. Stay on the facts. And I think he was just getting overly excited, because his whole point was, I want to get that little, I gotcha, get that I gotcha moment.
He really wanted a piece of Ava, and obviously CT would not let him up. So.
No, and he shouldn't.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Ava would not have handled Imperious very well.
No.
All right, cool, man. That's good.
He's one of those pit bulls. Well, I have a pit bull, and my pit bull is nothing like that. You just have to keep him at arm's length, and
I think the thing with
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that you and CT and other channels even let him on as much as you guys do, in my opinion. But
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, to be honest with you, he's actually in a lot of way easier to control than some other people that just get all up in their feels and shit.
He's very predictable at this point. You know what he's going to spaz out about.
Kind of, yeah. The big thing is that the big thing with Imperious is that I know that he will say things because he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Well, paralegal at the least.
Yeah. I know that he's a lawyer. So I know that he's going to say things are facts that are not facts. I know that he's going to make claims that have no bearing in reality, and he's going to tie things. You know why he gave up today is because what he sent me was he sent me the code. He said, because I said, look, everything you just gave me is not law. It's all policy.
Talking
But
points
it's not
in regards
law.
to reproductive rights and all that state jazz. Yeah.
And so he sent me Roe v. Wade.
Oh, okay. See,
and
I
I'm
didn't catch
like,
that part.
you're stupid.
Oh.
Like, you've lost. This is dumb. First of all, Roe v. Wade wasn't a law. It was an interpretation of a law.
Mm-hmm.
Second, Roe v. Wade has been overturned, which means the original inflection of that law stands, which was that there is no duty to unalive a fetus. Right. So it was so like, I'm like, you lost the minute you posted. Like, you're wrong. It was very good. I mean, honestly, once I kind of got him calmed down and headed in a direction, he was easy to debate because he couldn't see past his own rhetoric. So that was easy. All right, now let's talk about the Furby. I wanted to deflect because I know you're really hot on the Furby. What did you think about the Furby last night? And Anson was there too, so.
Oh yeah,
and Wally was there. I want Wally's opinion on the Furby too, because
the Furbies. Oh, he, she, it, whatever. Just the whole discussion, debate, whatever it was all about. I'm going to say him, his feelings. How I want you to know what it feels like to be me in this condition, and how I'm such a victim, even when I walk into the Starbucks to order a coffee. Oh, I'm such a victim because I am who I think I am. Give me a fucking break. Excuse the cussing. You know?
Yeah, it's
genuine. And he refuses to even acknowledge any hard, true facts that is presented that is contradictory to his feelings or even his studies. And I'm using air quotes.
Totally bad faith. And I called the Furby on that last night. Honestly, the Furby's real move should have been to have just said, yeah, okay, I'm bad faith, whatever, and moved on. But no, Furby made a big deal about it, which I knew he would. And it turned into a poll, and 87% said he was a bad debater.
Mm-hmm. Very
extreme. It was bad faith or something. It's whatever it was. Bad faith.
Yeah,
bad faith.
In this community, if you I think the vast majority of folks in this community, if you
Arthur, I will give you a synopsis of the Imperius thing in just 1 minute. Calm down. I'm trying to get feedback. I've got things coming up. I got to get
And don't let that woman tell you how to host your show. You can kick her out of there. Tell her to get in her lane. Go to the kitchen.
Trying to manage me or something. That's what this is. I got to get a red pill guy in here. This woman's trying to manage me.
Woman, go make some sandwiches.
Somebody, quick, make some sandwiches.
That's why I made an actual cooking segment on my show, Mr. Boulay.
Wally,
if Furby would just take a second and say, look, I can't push back because I don't have the data in front of me. I'm at work, whatever. Let's do this again and just end it there. I think that would establish a lot of credibility for him. And people would take him more.
That's not enough. The big problem I had, the reason I would not let it go last night, because I normally do. And let's all be honest. Normally, I just roll my eyes and the Furby's a Furby and who gives a fuck. The reason I didn't let it go is because I'm absolutely. Well, there's two reasons. First reason, I'm absolutely tired of the Furby waving its micro penis around.
It's freak flag.
Like it matters. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be bad faith and demand good faith out of everybody else and constantly act like you're a debater. And this brings to the second thing that I'm annoyed with, or not annoyed, but the motivator for last night. I told people I preferred not to debate when I started all of this a year ago. I said, you don't want to debate me. Much better just having a conversation with me. I don't let it go. And I'm not there to, like, Andrew is very philosophical. He's a philosophical debater. He wants to educate you. I want to destroy your worldview and leave and burn it down and stomp on the ashes.
Take the spoils.
Right. That's just, and I told people that when I started this, I literally told people that I don't, but now I've been drugged back in. And so now it's not a game. Furby's going to have to either debate properly, or every single time that creature is on a panel with me, I'm going to burn it to the ground, just like I did last night.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
one last thing.
Yeah.
Well, two. It appeared to me that when those ladies came on the panel and then started, asking questions, it seems like all of a sudden his demeanor shifted and he was a little more manageable or reasonable to talk to.
I wasn't there for that. I'd already pieced out. But the reason for that is the Furby understands that the optics of the Furby being mean to women is really bad.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, I say that, but the Furby has been really terrible to Neve, whatever, which I think is really, I mean, that's terrible. But, and also the Furby can just lose its temper. It's very deranged. So that's that. Now let me just really quickly, Arthur Daya, once again, we were on Chaotic Truth. Imperius came in. He literally challenged everybody to a debate, said that he could beat us all with ease, destroy us in a debate. I said, I'll take that. I got you, bro. And he had to time out because, well, he didn't time out. He just lost all energy and did not want to go forward with it for a couple of different reasons. Hey, welcome, Savage. Good to see you. Hey, Savage, don't bother going by that house tomorrow. I don't have the lockbox code, and I think some moron from the realtor's office allowed the sellers to not move out yet. So
when Imperius was debating Andrew about Form 1, Form 3, full auto stuff, he was saying, oh no, you could have a full auto if it's a curio relic, under a curio relic license.
Yeah.
No. The mandate is anything fully automatic supersedes everything else under
right. Well, that's what I told him too. But he is correct that if you do own it, you can send it. You can have it mailed to you. In California, that's fine. As long as it's curio and relic.
Yeah, but if it's a machine gun, it doesn't matter what year it was made. It is a full auto. Now,
yeah, I had that argument.
Relic,
I had that argument with him too, and
NFA.
I think you're right about that.
Any full automatic.
I think you're right about that too. But the law is ambiguous.
Doesn't matter what year it was made.
The law is ambiguous in California about that.
Yeah. No. Federal law supersedes.
No. So yeah, all right. So if he owns the machine gun, right, and it has been transferred into his possession, which means he's paid his stamp and everything, he can have it shipped to him from wherever he bought it.
Oh yeah, if he owns it outright, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That was his. That was the That was the thing that everybody kept missing, is that he owned it. It's his.
Okay, that's what I
it's not that he
picked up
could
on.
buy it from somewhere else and ship it
Yeah.
in. Now,
Okay.
there's some gray area there that I didn't want to get into, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. And that explains my confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's cool. So the last thing is got this little idea from when I was watching Mikey Ball earlier this morning. The Furby, as you know, he is into the studies and the statistics to prove, 10 out of 200 men like to be tickled with a feather kind of bullshit. I came up with this idea. What if somebody debated him with the premise that social sciences are not equal to the hard sciences, i.e. physics, chemistry, engineering? Because he always tries to make that argument. Oh, no. This is real data because it was collected in a controlled environment, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. It's not the same as a physics experiment or something that I designed in the lab.
Furby's so bad. Bad.
So,
Ghost 1978, I absolutely want that. And actually, if anybody has the Furby rage quitting, I know it's rage quit a couple times, I would love that footage.
So, Mike Ball and Mr. Anson here, they've possibly volunteered to be my debate coach so I can take him on.
Take who on?
Furby, to debate him on whether or not social sciences are real sciences.
Wait, what? Social science is a real science?
They're not, in my opinion. But
when did that fucking happen?
No. It's just something I thought of this morning. And Anson,
you know what the argument is? Do you know what his argument's going to be?
That they are, because of the process by which they collect data.
Oh, so it's purely by the scientific method?
Yeah.
That's what it'll turn into, is that it will be an appeal to the scientific method for it.
No, there's a duplication crisis in all of the humanities. It's not a science because you in order to be a science, you have to have duplicatable experiments, and you can't do that. And so it's not a science.
It can't be all right, no. It can be a science. You can make that argument, but if you make it using scientific method, it fucking fails. Because you cannot duplicate, you cannot have a truly controlled group, and it fails right immediately. I mean, literally, if you want to win, all you have to say is, "Okay, I will grant you that you can apply the scientific method to it. How do you achieve consistency?" And it will say, well, it's so many groups and margin of error and all that kind of thing. Okay, great. That's really good. What's your control? How do you have a control?
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure the control?
Yeah, look at all your dependent variables.
And when it's nothing but cope coming out of that, you just burn them to the ground.
Well, it's an idea. I don't know if that would be a debate, a good debate or not. But I thought,
oh yeah, it would be. Yeah, and you know who's a really good source for you is Scott Fabian Liberty. He's got a advanced degree in psychology. He studied it, and he's very well versed. I've heard him talk about this particular issue, and he would be really good in terms of he's got content up right now discussing it.
And he will help you debate prep. Yeah,
he'd probably do better. He would do a much better job than me.
I only debated Furby once, and it was fairly straightforward when I did, because when we were starting to come up for time, I'm like, okay, I think I've made my point. You can't show me anything about immutable characteristics changing regarding gender, so I'm just going to let you talk for the next 2 minutes, because I know that's all you want to do is talk. You just let me know when we get to the point where you're going to show me where the immutable characteristics change, then we can move on. Never got there. Never got there.
It's an idea. I don't know, toy with it. I don't know, good or bad, or I don't know. I think it'd be fun. try
the
my
biggest
hand
thing
at
with the Furby is just don't let it get you mad.
No,
and don't let if it starts running its mouth and just talking, you have to say nope, stop. It's my turn. I don't have to talk fast. As a matter of fact, you can make the Furby. I did that last night, and I felt like it really hurt the Furby's credibility a lot, which was really not hard to do. But
yeah, I was
right,
gonna say how hard was it to jump that bar grid to just step over it?
I don't know. I feel like I just sort of skipped a step and it just went right over. So the other debate that I mean, it's been a good week of debating. It's been a good week.
You've been busy. You've been busy.
I have been busy.
You've been busy. Well, I just want to float that out there.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it.
Yeah, and I'll help you out, man. I still got your email address.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Fabian's a Chad, dude. He is he's on right now. He might be asleep. He may just not be paying attention.
Yeah. Oh, and Ditto's grid with Rob and Fabian. Those guys are really good. They're really good.
The interview with Rob last night was amazing.
That was
I really
awesome.
liked that.
That
I
was
really
so
did
awesome.
like that.
You should have just kept that going instead of hopping on for the derailment panel.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
But yeah, thanks, guys. I thought let me try my hand in debating. If it works, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. That'd be fun.
Debating is a lot of people tell you, first of all, you can't be like anybody else. You have to be you, and you can't be Rob Noor.
Mm-mm.
You can't be Andrew Wilson. You can't be Wall. Nobody wants to be Wally.
I don't recommend being me. I don't even like being me.
Yeah.
Oh, Crystal Strange says I do a really good Furby impersonation, so I could use that as a weapon during the debate.
I understand it's difficult for other people because I kind of corner the market on being the lovable fat guy.
Chuck in Tennessee on the wall back here. The bottom one is a 308 AR-10. The one right there, that's a Keltec RDB, and the one above it is just a competition AR. That's really cool. It's actually really cool. It's a side charging upper from those people? Gibbs Arms with a Z. Raid Fabian. Fabian's not live right now, is he? I don't think he's live.
Well, you know what? Let's do it, Anson. We'll talk later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys ought to do that.
I need the coaching for sure.
Yeah. What did you? So, Wally, where were you at with? Because I know I left. What did you think of the Furby's activities?
I started tuning out for a while last night. I had wrestling to catch up on.
He's over there watching Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah!
No, at some point, you see the benefit of working overnight full time is that when panels and everything are turning to just bullshit, I can go like, oh, there's wrestling live in Japan. I can go do something with my life at 4 a.m. if I really want to.
Fair. That's fair. I can allow that. Are you gonna do VK?
No, I'm not doing VK tonight, and probably not for a while. Anyway.
Did you talk to your boy?
Had a couple of DMs with him a few days on Wednesday. I heard from him, but had a couple of DMs back and forth. But then I had messaged him something because I replied when I was in the middle of my show when I was replying to him last, but I haven't heard back from him since. But I got some. It's like I was gonna have some other other different like family shit coming up for
Yeah.
the next couple months anyway. Like and then concerts I got coming up on Fridays aside from that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wouldn't have been there next week because I'll be at Disturbed in Boston regardless.
Hey, you're coming to DebateCon, right?
Oh yeah. I'm absolutely coming to DebateCon. Like I would have hopped on Sarah's last night. There was really nothing for me to add.
I was literally like, I was like, Tim, get up here. I want to go to bed.
Oh, did I see Tiki Tack's going to debate Furby?
Yeah.
I thought I saw a thumbnail for it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Tiki Tack will wipe the floor with him.
Yes, definitely. Oh.
I'm trying to think if I've given any real ground to Furby at all. Usually the Furby leaves in the middle of it.
So I think I got to double check my schedule, but I think not next Saturday because I think we had to move it after St. Patty's Day because I was going to be busy next weekend. But I think it's the 22nd. I think I'm supposed to be debating with JS on prohibition for a St. Patty's Day like debate special.
Well,
good.
So I'm going to be drunk debating for that whole however long it is.
Yeah, I don't drink, so that keeps me clear-headed.
It's a prohibition debate grid. I got to show that I can hold my liquor for 3 hours without trouble to illustrate my point that prohibition's a waste. He's being pro-prohibition on this.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not really sure if I want to raid into VK or not. I don't. Is there anybody else? Can anybody? Because for some reason, a lot of channels just don't show up in my feed anymore for whatever reason. So anybody cool live?
Let me check.
And while we're doing that, guys, let's do our final thoughts.
Well, I got a new camera, and I am actually going to record something this weekend. It's not going to be the pre-33 gold in the civil forfeiture. I'm still working on that, but got an idea actually from Mike Ball's stream. All this talk about the rare earth metals deal with Ukraine. I'm going to do a little video about what rare earth minerals Ukraine has and what is their impact to our industry and the common, day-to-day goods that we use, stuff like that. So make a good little content video. Be a little technical, but try to keep it under 2 minutes. So I'm going to work on that this weekend and try to get it posted Monday.
It'd be a really good one. Yeah, I mean, you'll probably get hunted down if you do it, but a really good deep dive on why diamonds are worthless and rubies and emeralds and sapphires are actually worth more because they're more rare. A deep dive on that would be really cool. However, the diamond industry would probably kill you. So it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. So
I mean, the diamond industry can't be hard to get along with. I mean, you just get people together and share a few De Beers with them.
Savage, so it wasn't a personal one-on-one debate, although I kind of made it a one-on-one debate because I called the Furby on literally everything it said. But it was on Sarah's panel at the end. We were up there having a really great conversation, Anson and I, about the subject matter, which I forget what it was, but it was
a monetary policy and deflation and the value of the dollar.
Yes,
favorite topic.
Value of the dollar. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was really good. And Anson and I disagreed just enough to make it interesting. So that was good. And then the fluff ball came in and started derailing everything. And I know what it was trying to do is it was trying to get to, it was once again trying to get to the me part of the program. I didn't want that. I didn't like it. So I did the best I could to redirect. It was rough. It's rough out there. But mostly because every time the Furby would ask for proof, I would either deny that I was even going to get proof, because why would I? This is an impromptu debate. I'm not. This wasn't a planned gig. But when pushed, I did actually provide data where the Furby just said that it had data and it would get it to us tomorrow. By the way, still don't have it. So,
yep.
And I've debated a lot this week. Like I didn't even mean to start debating. What's her name? Ava today. It's just,
Ava.
It's just how it's literally just when I was hearing it, it was just like I have to respond in this way.
She also has daddy issues.
No, she is a daddy issue. She's gross, man. The interesting thing is that I do think that she's really trying to be a good person, but she just keeps fucking it up for whatever stupid ass reason. Savage, it was on the Raging Tomato. So you can drop the link to Anson's channel if he wants you to.
I've just been also
drop the link.
I'm also watching the GPS for my pizza delivery, and I'm very amused by the bizarre driving around.
How many people around you are? By how many people are ordering pizza in your neighborhood?
No, I'm just amused at the way the driver is making no sensible progress here, but is so close and so far away at the same time.
Yeah. Let's see. I got nothing else. Yeah, gemstones. The gemstone thing is really interesting. That people think diamonds are really valuable.
That explains it. Woman driver. That explains it.
A helping hound. No. What is in the shoulder holster is a 1911 Colt Gold Cup trophy. I know it's a lot to say. Oh, that my flag just fell down. What's up with that? Dang it, Wally. In 45 ACP. Now that you mention it, I prefer 38 Super because car doors exist, and 38 Super thinks nothing of car doors, gives 0 fucks. So I may throw that in the hole. I have to wear the shoulder holster to break it in. It's actually it's still stiff, and I probably need to like oil it or something, but it's so new. I'm very hesitant to oil it. Arthur Daya, I did actually debate. I told people not to debate me because I'm not there to. I'm not. See, the thing is, everybody likes Andrew's style of debating, where he's just like very philosophical, and at the end, you feel like that. Hey, everybody's walking away from this with their balls intact. I'm on the other side of that spectrum where I want to destroy your worldview completely.
Scorched earth.
Yeah, I'm scorched earth, and I know that about myself, which is why generically I try really hard not to. I try very, very hard to not have some of those debates like that. But what I've learned is that I can dial it back to a nice, comfortable level, which is good.
just enough burn to make them feel it without them running away screaming. Just the right amount.
I said oil, not boil. Helping Hound oil.
Oh, and by the way, somebody brought this up. I forgot who it was the other night, but everybody take a good look at Grid and think of this while you look at him. Irish mafia boss.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I get that. Everybody's been saying that. At some point, it's going to stick. When I'm
It's awesome.
talking in a brogue.
I'm grifting that. Grid 1, the Irish mafia boss.
Yeah. Helping Hound, there is like a thing where you put hot water. You do a hot water soak on leather and then put it on and stretch it, and it's supposed to help. But this doesn't need to be stretched. It just needs to curve in some area because it's brand new leather. All right,
you want me to do my goodbyes, Grid?
Yeah, do that, would you?
Yeah. So thanks for having me up, Grid. It's been wonderful talking foreign policy with you and some of the other conversations about historical interests that we apparently both share.
Is pissing Arthur Dye off. It's okay.
Yeah. And Arthur Dye has been taking L's in the chat the entire night, and I guess she'll continue doing that, and then go home to her cat.
She could have been taking L's up here with the landed gentry.
Yeah. But I'm starting a new channel. I've got it up and running. It's at Jangle with Us Eternal, the hottest chick on YouTube, and this is her right here. Her and I are going to be hosting conversations that show her depth as an individual beyond just being the hottest woman on YouTube. And I'll be tackling with her issues like transhumanism and the other difficult things that are confronting society, and it'll be fun. There's going to be jokes and
tying her shoes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Grid's going to tune in.
Wally, dude, the other day, you have no idea how close you were, because literally, like every time that chick moved, and I was like, "That is like, have you explained TOS to her?"
Yes, many times.
All right.
That was not so that was not the first time I've had to explain it, and it won't be the last.
Grid. I sent her a detailed summary of the TOS related to those outfits.
Literally crotch shots every single time.
Oh my!
And I was like, because I wasn't really paying attention, and then she said something like that I wouldn't like her outfit or something, and so I was like, what are you talking about outfit? And I looked right, and I'm like, Wally, bro. And I literally said him, Wally, bro. You're TOS, bro. Like, yeah, Wally's gonna get nuked.
It'll happen to me sooner or later. The sooner I'd rather have to start all over sooner than later.
Apparently, Spaceman says that there was a 20 to 30% nip slip.
No, we prevented that. To the best of my knowledge, we prevented that.
It was more like a 5%.
Yeah.
playing with the TOS, man. That's like, I don't even know, man. I don't even know.
Well, you timed this perfectly for my pizza to get here, Grid, for you to be right. I couldn't
give me your final remarks.
We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back here to talk some shit tomorrow night, I believe.
We are talking major shit tomorrow night. So
that's all we need to get through the rest of the weekend, boys.
That's all you need.
Talking session.
Yeah,
It's bugged, boys. It's bugged.
It's bugged. It's all bugged.
Oh, I made Arthur Dye cry. Look, she's crying in the chat. I did it.
She's crying?
Still butthurt over Anson dumping me for a lefty with a big rack.
Yeah, she's got a big butt and a big rack, Arthur Dye. It's not just a big rack. So.
Oh, I thought Iraq's a country in the Middle East. But
That's funny.
No, it's not.
Mr. Boulay.
Yes, sir.
Final thoughts, sir.
Oh, hey, thanks for letting me come up and shoot the hay a little bit. I really appreciate it, and so thank you, Grid. And yes, I am going to work on a new video, and I'm going to try to get it posted Monday, and get back into posting videos on a regular basis and get the whole camera thing worked out. So hey, and thank you everybody for your support. As kind of join this community and stuff. Thank you, Grid, for these opportunities, and hopefully get to know you a little bit better, Wally. I'm seeing you around and stuff, but
yeah,
we'll interact.
Wally's okay, dude.
Yeah, I'm all right.
He's good. And thank you.
Thank you
to Mike.
I make it hard for everybody else because I'm just so damn likable on my own.
Yes, you are. You're a very cool guy. I mean, it's surprisingly refreshing
when he's asleep.
Yeah, when I'm not a permanent grump, I'm great.
Yeah. And thank you, Anson and Mike Ball, for the idea of taking on the Furby and hitting it where it really hurts in the social sciences.
I do hope Ticky Tack absolutely destroys the Furby, but my guess is Ticky Tack's going to hold back.
He better not.
Yeah, he's pretty passive. I've noticed that he's not. Yeah, he needs to drop another testicle.
What? What? No.
That's not how any of this works. That's not how it works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got to go away.
That was funny. I don't care what you are. That was funny.
You got to get out of here. I don't care where you go, but you can't be here. So be cool. Wear glasses if you need them, and get the fuck off